please, while you stand in front of the chair, and please raise your right hand, state your name for the record.
I'm on this with
Spell your last name.
KRISHMANALYTHY.
You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you. You may have a seat, and please use the microphone to project to the jury.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to please state your name for the record as loud as possible, and that is to ensure that every juror, all the way from where you're at to the back here, can hear you.
Sure.
All right, so speak into that microphone at your front. Yep, go right ahead and say your name for the jury.
Okay, my name is Amalan Krishnamurthy,
All right, thank you very much. And where do you currently live?
New York.
And what do you do?
I'm an engineer.
And did you go to college for that?
Yes, I went to Rutgers.
And what years did you go to Rutgers?
2011 to 2015.
Let me bring you to 2014. Do you recall where you were living at the time?
31 Robinson Street.
And who else was living with you at 31 Robinson Street?
It was 6 other people: Label, Otto, Rahul, Mike, Andrew. Ed.
All right, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
All right, and did you ever have friends come over to the house?
Yes.
Do you know an individual by the name of Gregory Parry?
Yes.
All right, can you tell the jury how you know Gregory?
So we went to high school together, so we're pretty good friends, stayed friends throughout college to this day.
All right, so first, and would Gregory ever come over to 31 Robinson Street?
Yeah, all the time.
Let me first show you what's already been moved into evidence, S-144B. All right, I'm going to ask you just to look at the screen that's next to you. And do you recognize S-144B?
Yes.
All right, and is that the residence 31 Robinson that you just explained?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Now, tell us about around February 14, 2014, did you get together with Gregory Parry?
If it was on Thursday, yeah, I did that night.
All right, and please tell the jury about that.
Yeah, so we went to a convenience store on Thursday the 14th, and then we returned back to the convenience store, parked on Hamilton. We walked back to the house. He cut through the snow in the back because that's like a recognized shortcut, and I went around.
All right, so let's break that down a little bit. Do you recall where the convenience store was?
Yeah, it was on, I believe, Easton, the old Rutgers bookstore. That
Okay.
doesn't exist anymore.
All right.
But there's a parking lot behind there that we used to park and then go to the convenience stores on Easton.
All right, and is that Easton, what's the cross street of that? Easton and,
I believe Easton and Somerset.
all right.
Yeah, around
And
there.
so how did you guys walk from Easton and Somerset to 31 Robinson?
Oh, so we parked there, went to the convenience store, then drove back to Hamilton, parked at the laundromat, and then walked from the laundromat on Hamilton to Robinson.
All right, so you said that you guys, I guess, broke up at some point.
Yeah.
Can you explain that to the jury?
Yeah, so it was snowing that day, and Greg decided to take the shortcut through the snow, and I decided to go around. And that was from Hamilton. He took a right on Hartwell, and then I kept going straight on Robinson, and he cut through the backyard on Hartwell, going to Robinson.
Now, why did you guys decide to separate?
I really just didn't want snow and my feet wet, so he decided to cut through the snow because he didn't really care, and I just went around.
All right, and now, at that point, what did you guys do that evening? Did you stay at the house?
Yeah, I think hung out at the house, played video games, standard.
All right, and do you know when Gregory left?
No idea, probably around like 12:31.
All right.
About to guess, yeah.
All right, okay. I would like to show you what's been remarked as S073K. It's already in evidence. Can you just show the, if you can, now there should be a pointer, not, thank you. May I have a pointer on it? Yes, thank you.
What's that number again?
S703K. So this is. And just to show highlight for the jury where 31 Robinson Street is? Oh, no, it's okay. You're not the first, not the last, there you go.
All right, it's 31 Robinson is right here.
All right, and the route you took from Hamilton Street, the route you leave,
Yeah, so I took this way, and then going on Robinson up here.
okay?
Yeah.
All right. Sure. And do you recall, and you recall the weather conditions?
Yeah, it was snowing. It was snowing. Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you very much. I have no further questions for the witness.
Mr. Krishnamurti, right?
Yes.
Got that right?
Yeah, I did.
You said Thursday,
Yes.
so that would have been the 13th.
The 14th, I think. Is Thursday the 14th?
Well, let me see if I can pull it up on my calendar here. Mayor Judge, Mayor Burch. Check out the year there, 2014, February.
Yes.
Thursday was the 13th, right?
Oh, okay, so it was 13th.
Okay, I just want to confirm
Yeah.
that, because you said Thursday and you said the 14th. So you guys hung out Thursday evening?
Yeah, Thursday evening.
All right. And you're saying you went, I guess you went down on Hamilton instead of coming through, cut through this,
Yeah.
and you just went on Robinson and went to the house. And you're saying he just wanted to just cut through the snow?
Yeah, so like this is a pretty known route. Over
The
here.
cut through.
The cut through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are friends walking together, he
Yeah.
just decided to go off on his own?
Yeah.
That's
essentially.
what you remember happening?
Yeah.
And you said you guys parked the car on Hamilton?
Yes, I believe we parked the car right here. Right behind the laundromat.
And then you guys were together the
Yeah.
whole time?
Yeah, up until right here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
No, yes. All right, thank you. May I sit down?
Thank you.
Your next witness. Thank you very much, Your Honor. The state calls Chaim Greenberg. Chaim Greenberg. He's making the phone call? All right, that's, we can move forward.
Okay, we'll move
We
forward.
have another witness. Is he come, if he's not, we have another witness here. You know what, start that one. Right, and so we could bring him, let's bring him. Okay, we'll bring him. Yep, go ahead.
Let's bring him in.
Your Honor, we're gonna call Randy Thomas. Once he gets up here, we'll call him. Yeah.
Thomas?
It's like your last name?
Thomas?
Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may have a seat, and please use the microphone for the hearing.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Are you feeling okay today?
My leg is swollen and we had a lot of pain. Didn't even get out of bed this morning.
I'm sorry.
I said, I was in a lot of pain.
I'm gonna ask you to speak into this microphone.
Sure. Okay. Just before the witness begins, can we just have 5 seconds, please? Just want to make sure something.
So, Mr. Thomas, to the extent that you need to stand up because that makes you a little bit more comfortable, do what you need to do to make yourself comfortable, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're right.
Again, good morning, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning.
And just make sure you speak into that microphone.
Okay.
And make sure that the jurors in the back can hear you. How are you feeling today?
I seen better days and I'm in a lot of pain.
So can I bring the witness? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Sorry that we out.
So your back is troubling you right now.
My back and right now my foot.
Okay, so if you need, like the judge said, if you need to make yourself comfortable, stand up for a second, okay?
Okay.
All right. Where do you currently live?
Where I currently live right now, I live in St. Claudius, Virgin Islands.
How long have you lived there?
Over 2 years.
Prior to moving to the Virgin Islands 2 years ago, where'd you live?
I didn't hear the question.
Before you moved to the Virgin Islands 2 years ago, where did you live?
I live in a lot of places. I live in New Brunswick. I used to live in Somerset. I live in North Brunswick. And then I moved to Island Park. And then back to New Brunswick.
Okay. So I'm going to direct your attention to February 2014. Do you remember that time?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where'd you live in February of 2014?
75 Delafield
What kind of a building was that?
is an apartment building.
How many apartments were there?
I think it was like about 6.
Okay. What was the number of your apartment?
My 75 Delafield apartment D.
Were you working at that time?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working?
I was working for myself over in Somerset, 1 Somerset Avenue, Somerset, New Jersey.
When you say you were working for yourself, what did you do?
Mechanic.
And what kind of work did you do as a mechanic?
I used to do all kind of work, replace transmission, replace the engine performance, anything rear end, axles, brakes, anything they bring to me, I do it. I get it done.
What was the name of your business?
JT Auto Repair and Service.
How long did you operate that business, JT Auto?
About 1.5 years, and until I got robbed.
Okay. Now, you indicated you lived at 75 Delafield.
Correct.
How far is that from, are you familiar with the area of New Brunswick, Delafield, Hamilton Street, Hartwell, that area?
No, some of the areas, yeah. Most of the time I don't look at the speaker sign. I don't know exactly where I'm going.
How far is Delafield from Hartwell?
It was like about, say about 2 minutes walk.
How would you normally get to work?
I walk there.
And how long did it take you to get to work?
Like about 6 minutes.
Now, I'm going to bring your attention to February 19th of 2014. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I remember that day. I had to go pay my phone bill.
Okay. So, tell me about what you did. You indicated you had to pay your phone bill.
Correct.
All right. Do you recall finding a phone that day?
Yes, I did. First of all, I had to go pay my phone bill in the morning. It's about probably 9 something, 10 o'clock, so I started early. And then I remember when I got back home, I walked on the same street, and pretty much I went straight home, got my clothes, and I walked back up the street where I like pretty much encountered, the street was clean, but actually the sidewalk was dirty. It was snowing, heavy snow we had. So a lot of the cars they had snow banks on the side there because they had to move them. And pretty much the sun was out, and I was walking up there between Hearts and Hamilton. There was 2 cars there close to the curb. So I was walking and I saw this glare in my eye while I was carrying my clothes to wash. So what I did, like I said, wait a minute, I look over and look at the car to see like the mirror or something, like reflection. It wasn't that. So I look around, I stand in the same spot, and I saw something on the top of the snowbank. So I walked over, and I looked at it and said, it looks very familiar. And what I did, I walked up in the snowbank with 1 foot, and I reached and picked it up. And I come to find out it was a phone.
Okay, let's break that down a little bit. Let's start from the beginning. You left your house on Delafield, your apartment.
Correct.
Where were you going at that time?
First, I had to go and pay my phone bill.
Okay. Where were you going to pay your phone bill?
Moose Mobile and French Street.
So did you leave the house to go pay your phone bill?
Yes.
Where did you go at that point?
I go straight to Moose Mobile and pay my phone bill.
Okay. Where did you go after that?
After that, when I went back home, I remember I had to wash my clothes. And that's when I went back up the same street because the laundromat is on Hamilton Street.
All right, let's slow this down a little bit. You went back home, and what did you do after you got back home from paying your phone bill at Bruce Mobile?
I remember I had to wash my phone, when you wash my clothes. And so I took my clothes and I went back up to the Hartwell to wash my clothes on the laundromat. And that's when I found the phone before I got to the laundromat.
Where is your laundromat?
My laundromat is on Hamilton Street.
All right. Now, to get from your apartment to this laundromat, what path would you take to get there?
I think, from my house, I took it there and I go straight to a little curve in the road. There's 2 different roads there, I don't remember the name there. I go straight down. And then Hart's Lane is straight up. You go straight up to Hart's, and Hart's cut right into the Hamilton.
Okay. And where's your laundromat, on Hamilton, you said?
As soon as they come between Hamilton and Hart's, you make the left and straight up the road.
Okay.
Not too far.
All right. What was the weather like at that time, on February 19th?
It wasn't that cold. The sun was out and the ice was melting.
Was there any snow on the ground?
Yeah, there was a snowbank on the side. I walked in the middle of the street when I went up
Why did you walk in the middle of the street?
because the sidewalks was not clean. It had snow in it. It was high snow. I'm not gonna fall in the snow.
And as you were walking towards your laundromat, what did you see?
And what did I see? I see 2 cars and then I saw a phone in between it because the sun was out, like I said before.
Do you remember about what time this was?
That's probably about, like about, and not even 10, after 10, about 11 o'clock. So.
All right, so when you see this item, what did you do?
I picked it up
Why did you pick it up?
because somebody lost their phone and pretty much I picked it up, said I'm gonna take it home and see what's wrong with it and charge it up. So in case anybody calls to see who has this phone, I can tell them exactly where to meet me and come and get your phone. That's what my intention.
Okay. All right, so did you look at it after you picked it up?
Yeah, it had like water coming out of it, dripping, so I took it home. And the girl I was living with at that time told me to put it in the microwave.
Well, let's break this down real slow. After you picked it up, did you look at it?
Yeah, I looked at it.
Describe it for us.
The face was break up a little bit, well, a lot. But it seemed like something ran it over, a crutch.
Did you go to the laundromat?
Yes, I did.
How long were you at the laundromat?
Usually like about an hour and a half to 2.
You did your laundry there that day?
Yes, sir.
Where did you go from there?
I go from there, I went straight back home
Did you go home with the phone?
with the phone.
What happened after you got home with the phone?
After I went home with the phone, the girl I was living with seemed like she was attracted to the phone. I said, look, I'm not letting you have this phone because I don't know what the phone belongs to. And it belongs to me, so I'm not gonna keep it. And she told me to put it in the microwave, and I told her she's crazy. Because it would blow up. But I don't want that, not in my house.
All right. When you were at the laundromat, did you manipulate it at all? Did you look at it, try to turn it on or anything like that?
Hell, no. Because if I tried to, because like I said, when I picked it up the first time, it was dripping water out of the phone. So if I turn it on pretty much, the phone ain't gonna be no good. It's not any good anyway, so if it wasn't good before, it's gonna be good again. So I wouldn't turn it on.
Okay. All right. So after you got that advice to put it in the microwave, what did you do with it?
I took it, because we had base heaters and stuff like that, so I put a rag on the base heater, a light rag, and I put it on top of it, and I let it sit there for a while, and I see like, okay, I check it like every hour, and I see like no water's coming out of it, so I figured like, I had a lot of phones, so I had a charger. I said, let me charge it up and see if somebody called to see who the phone belongs to, so I could return the phone.
And where was this all happening? At your apartment?
I'll go up there.
Okay. And how long did you charge it up?
It's been charged for like, well, I said, well, it's 6-7 hours.
Did it come on at some point?
It came on, and then afterwards, I shut it off. I let it charge it some more, and then afterwards, I went to work with the phone. Hopefully somebody will call and let me know who the phone belongs to. But 3 people called, and all I heard was dial tone.
Okay. All right. When did you go to work after that?
I usually go to work like sometimes 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, depends on what time I get up.
That was the next day after you found the phone?
Yes, sir.
So that would have been what date?
No, I don't remember what day it was. It was wrong.
Okay. You indicated that when you turned it on, people called the phone. Were you at home at that point, or were you at work?
At work.
All right. Okay. So after you went to work the next day and brought the phone with you, what did you do?
I went to work. I left the phone on my desk, my secretary over there at the desk and stuff like that, and I went to work because I had car service.
All right. What are your hours of operation? What were your hours of operation at JT Oil?
My hours change a lot. Sometimes I'm there from 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock, to like 5, 6, sometimes 8 o'clock in the night.
Okay. Did you have employees that worked with you?
Correct.
How many employees did you have?
4.
And what kind of jobs did they do for you?
Well, I got Tracy, the secretary, boyfriend, he fixes cars sometimes. And I got Johnny, he wants to get parts while we're working on the car. And I had this other guy there, Greg, he comes by to help out. He cleans the shop, sometimes when I'm working, when I'm busy, he be mopping and sweeping and stuff like that when I drop stuff. Because I gotta keep a clean shop, that's my motto.
Okay. Were all these workers full-time?
Well, they come there most of the time and stuff like that. They will, I'll train Tracy, I'll train Johnny. But I wasn't really paying Greg, because Greg come there to help out. But the only thing I do for Greg, he needs a pack of cigarettes, I give him $10 to go get some cigarettes. Because he works hard. He works harder than the people I'm paying.
Let's talk about Greg. What was his last name?
I don't remember his last name. Been so long.
Do you remember approximately how old Greg was?
No, I never asked him his age.
And Greg did what kind of jobs around the shop?
He's sweet, cleaning up, putting mops, put stuff away sometimes too. Like when parts come, he pick it up, and the secretary pays for it, and he brings them to me. Sometimes he asks me if I need help. I said, no, Greg.
Okay. So how long did he work for you at JTR?
I met him like about 3 months after when I started my business there. I met him through the same guys that I had there, Tracy and her boyfriend, and Johnny.
Okay. All right. So when you got to the work that day with the phone, what did you do with it?
I put it on the desk.
Did you do anything with the phone after you put it on the desk?
No,
Did you plug it in at all?
no. I just put it on the desk and I heard it ring, and I went to answer it to see if anybody knows who the phone belongs to, and I heard it, the dial tone. Then after I'm on the car again, I heard it ring, so I got up. This is before the rest of the workers have got there. And I asked like, do you know who this phone belongs to? And it rings again after a while, so after you get underneath the car, to go answer the phone to see who this phone belongs to. This person knows who this phone belongs to. I don't know who the phone belongs to, period.
Yeah.
I just want to return the phone.
Okay.
And I heard somebody in the background, because it's been on the phone for a while. And all I heard was a dial tone, and I said, okay. And Greg and Johnny then came in. Greg saw the phone, liked the phone, and I told him, look, you can't have that phone. I don't know who it belongs to, I was waiting for somebody to call so I could give them back their phone.
Okay. All right. So that was on your desk,
Yeah.
and you had, how busy were you that day with cars?
I was busy. I had like 4 cars outside and I had one inside. I was going axle on and I think back brakes, which was difficult. It would take me a long time.
And when you were, now you have a shop with bays, is that correct?
Yeah, I got one bed, only one single bed. The other guys, and we have the other base. It's a big shop.
And you said you have an office, is that right? Or-
Yeah, I have the office in the corner. They gave me a little office in the corner because I can't use 2 bays. The guy don't want me to use 2 bays. So he told me I could put a desk over there in the corner, or work over there, like order and stuff.
Did you see Greg do anything with the phone that morning?
Yeah, he asked me about the phone and stuff like that. He's like, oh, it's selling the phone or something. I'm not selling it. I'm waiting for somebody to call, so I could give this person back their phone, and that's it. So he was over there probably playing with it, and afterwards, I don't know, he like, yo, dude, this phone open? I said, yeah, the phone rang this morning. So I guess he was playing with the phone and doing something with it. Because I was stuck on it in the car.
Okay. Did you keep track of Greg with the phone that day?
No. I was busy pretty much underneath the car. I was trying to make money. And
Do you recall approximately, if you remember, how late you worked that day?
until about 5 o'clock, because I worked from, I think it was 6 in the morning. Because I got up early that morning. And I was walked over to the job and opened up and started. Finished this job that I had there for the day before.
How late did Greg stay that day?
He stayed with me until 5. Because me and he usually walk up the road because we go in the same direction.
All right. Did you see him or did you give him permission to take the phone that day?
No, I didn't even know the phone was missing off the desk. I didn't even remember the phone. I was so tired and frustrated from work. I went home and I said I wanted to cool off and then take a shower. And I was just sitting there. I said, okay, I'm hungry. So I went up to the street and go got some pizza. came back down, and my neighbor downstairs told me that it looked like some cops were looking for you.
All right, well, let's stop there. We'll get into that in a minute. When was the last time that you saw that phone?
When we left the office, because I have to lock the office up. That's why I left at 5 o'clock.
Okay. Now, at some point, did police come to speak to you?
Yeah, I think it was probably like about 8 or 9 o'clock, something like that there.
Let me ask you, before we get to that, were you aware when you found that phone that there was a murder on Hartwell Street a few days before?
No, sir.
And when police were at your house, what happened?
Well, when they was at my house, they knocked on the door, when I opened the door, and they asked me my name, I gave them my name, and they asked me if I could come in. So I'm like, kind of frustrated, like, what's
So
going
I
on?
would object to hearsay, there's been a lot of this, I would object to that.
Okay, without telling us what anybody else said, can you tell us what happened when the police arrived at your house? Don't say what anybody else said to you.
Okay, they came to my house and they asked to search the house. And I was like, after a while, I said, go ahead. Okay,
You gave them consent to search your house?
correct.
All right. And did they search your house?
Yes, it did.
Were you present when they searched your house?
Oh, no. Because they took me downtown, well, downtown for some question.
Okay. So you went to the New Brunswick Police Department?
Correct.
And did you speak to the police officers at the New Brunswick Police Department?
Yeah.
How many police officers did you speak to?
There was, I think there was 2 of them in the room with me.
And did you voluntarily give them a statement?
Yes.
Judge, objection, can we be seen inside, please?
Objections overruled.
Okay, did you, when you were speaking to the police officers that day, did you tell them how you found that phone?
Yes, sir.
All right, I am going to. I'm going to show you some pictures, Mr. Thomas. Let's start with S459. Do you recognize that?
That's probably what I was down at the station, so. It's probably that.
Is that,
I don't
let
even
me,
get my-
let me ask you this way. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of how you looked back in February 2014?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves S459 as evidence.
No objection.
That's 459, you said?
Yes. All right. There's a screen right there to your left, Mr. Thomas. Is that the photo that you just saw on the stand?
Correct.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of how you looked back in February 2014?
Correct.
All right, now I'm going to show you S703J. Is that a map of Delafield, Hartwell, and Robinson?
Yes, this.
And that is how the streets were laid out back in February 2014, correct?
Right.
Now, there's a pointer up here. See this? Now, this. Hold it down, highlights. Don't press that button because it switches the picture. Okay, so it's just the top button. So can you, looking at 703G, the map of the area of Delafield, Hartwell, and Robinson, can you indicate to the jury where Delafield is?
Yeah, you can see it this way.
Can you, you can't see. Would it be easier if you stood up? You okay?
Delafield goes all the way up.
Press the button down on top.
Delafield go all the way up here.
Okay, so you're indicating Delafield Street right there on the map, 703G.
And there's a cutoff there, I think goes to Hartwell. All the way up.
All right. So you're indicating, oops, sorry. Jacob. All right. So you're indicating Delafield meets Hartwell. Can you point that out?
Delafield,
Okay.
there, it goes all the way up there, but there's a cutoff right here that goes into Hartwell.
All right. Where is your, where approximately was your apartment back in February 2014?
My apartment is, my apartment is supposed to be all the way up there, right there in St. Peter's, 75 Delafield, but it's further up.
It's further up on top of Delafield,
Correct.
on the map. All right. Okay. So on February 19th, 2014, can you tell us the path that you took to get to the laundromat?
Well, we start from here, cross border, all the way down Delafield, and then I come to here instead of all the way down Delafield. I'm not hard. All the way down. And I go up to the other side to go to do my laundry.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you to look at the corner of the map. Do you see where the laundromat was that you used to do your laundry?
Laundry mat's supposed to be right about up.
Is that marked on the map?
No.
All right, I'm gonna ask you to look closely at the corner here. I don't know if
That's
you can
like
see it from
about,
your angle.
no,
Okay.
it's like about, what Tata's, is the pizza place?
Yeah.
I go to, about like over here.
Across from Tata's?
Yeah, well, no, like a couple blocks from Tata's,
Okay.
a couple houses up.
All right. Can you, hold on to this stuff. Can you point out approximately where you saw the phone on the map?
Like around here, right, it's up on the corner, like, right, all the way to the east, that right there.
Okay.
On the other
It's
side.
down towards the bottom of the map.
Yeah,
Um,
right in the corner, right there. But there was two cars parked there, and the phone was in between them on the other side over here.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now showing you S 654, 658, and 659. Do you recognize those?
Yes, that's going over there on the corner, they had slimes.
Okay, well, just go through them and ask me, or tell me if you recognize them.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Well, it's part right about here, right on the corner.
Are those fair and accurate depictions
Yes.
of the way that Hartwell Street was laid out,
Yes,
as well as the intersection of Hamilton Street back in February of 2014?
yes, sir. Right.
All right, Your Honor, at this time, the state moves S 654, 658, and 659 as evidence.
No objection.
That's already in there, sorry. All right, so up on the screen, Mr. Thomas, is S 654. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us what that is.
It's Hartwell.
Okay. Can you indicate with the pointer where Hartwell Street is? All right. So where's Hamilton Street?
Hamilton Street is right here. This whole street is Hamilton Street all the way up.
Where was your laundromat in relation to this picture?
Straight up the street in Hamilton, all the way up past Tata's.
Okay. Does that picture show the approximate spot where you found the phone?
Correct.
Where?
Right here, where this phone is at.
Okay. Where were you walking at that time?
I was walking, coming from, down in Hartwell here, coming straight up. I was walking down the street, and I was trying to do the launch right up here.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next picture. Do you recognize that photo? All right. Do you recognize?
Yes, I did, sorry.
Does that photo depict Tata's Pizza?
Correct.
Okay. Can you indicate where Tata's Pizza is?
Building right here.
Okay. Through that photo, can you again point out where you found the phone?
Right here by these goals.
Let's go to the next photo. Do you know what's depicted in S 659?
Yeah,
What is that?
that's Hartwell. I mean, Hartley.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the full time.
Hartwell.
Okay. Does that photo depict the approximate spot where you found the phone?
Yes, sir.
Where?
Right there by these two goals.
Okay. Thank you. Now, I'll show you S S-179. Do you recognize that?
Yes, so that's the building I live in, 75 Delafield Street.
I didn't hear what was said.
75 Delafield.
Is that where you lived back in February 2014?
Correct.
Does that photo, Your Honor, this time the statement was S-179.
No objections.
All right, we're looking at S-179. What are we looking at there?
Looking at the step where I have to climb every day to go to an apartment. I live in a second apartment in the back.
Okay, can you show the jury where your apartment was?
Yep, the step here, there's an apartment right here, and there's another apartment right here. Second apartment is mine. That's it.
Showing you what's been marked as S-633. Do you recognize that? Take your time with that.
That looks like the thing of paper that the guys can give me to sign.
Okay, and is that the document that you signed?
Yes,
You recognize your signature on that document?
correct.
And was that the document that they presented you when they asked you to consent to search your home?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this time the statement was S-633 into evidence.
Objection, Judge. Document does not go into evidence.
Why don't we, for now, table that and then
Okay,
move
sure.
to the next?
All right, let's go to S. Showing you S-183, 186, 188, and 190. Just go through those. You can just look.
Yes.
Go through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are those photos, those items that I just indicated, are those photos of the inside of your apartment
Correct.
at Delafield?
Mhm.
Okay. And to your knowledge, were those photos taken around the time that the police asked you for consent to search your apartment?
Not to my knowledge. I think I was downtown already.
Okay. Is this the way that your apartment looked back in February 2014?
Correct.
All right. Your Honor, this time the statement was S-183, 186, 188, and 190 to evidence.
No objection.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, can you tell us what we're looking at, S-183 here?
Looking at my bedroom door, two knives there on the floor. And those are my working knives.
When you say working knives, what do you mean by that?
I work with the knives every day. I have them when I go to cut fuses, cut wires and stuff like that. Instead of running back to the box, I already have it on my side, so I usually shield them up.
Okay. All right. And you said that the door at the top of the screen, where does that go to?
Say that again?
The door you indicated at the top of the screen or to the left on the screen, where does that go to?
Go to my room.
Let's go to the next picture. S-186, what is that?
That's also another knife I worked with. I was on my belt.
What was the purpose of that knife?
Same thing, cutting hoses, cutting wires.
How often at work would you cut hoses and wires?
I pretty much almost 4 times a week.
Where was that picture taken? What does it depict? What area of your room? If you remember, if you don't remember, that's fine.
Yeah, that's actually the base of my draw. Clothes drawer.
What?
The base of my clothes drawer.
Your clothes drawer, okay. All right, let's go to the next photo. What is that?
That's a knife I got from a friend of mine in Pennsylvania. We used to go hunting.
Okay. And where was that located in your room?
On my bed.
What did you use that item for?
To go hunting when my friends go to hunt in Pennsylvania. Sometimes they invite me, most of the time I say no. They give me as a gift.
Let's go to the next photo. What are we looking at in S-190?
That's another knife in my drawer.
All right, and that is the drawer to what?
My clothes. And there's some papers in there.
What was that knife used for?
The same thing.
Now, what else is in that drawer there?
Maybe we got clothes in there, drawer.
Okay.
Clothes on my knife and stuff,
All right.
and some papers.
Okay, what are the papers? Do you recall what those papers were?
No, some of those papers there, people owe me money and stuff like that, and I tell them like, you know, it's a lot of money, I owe you. When you gonna pay me back?
I couldn't hear what he said.
Could you repeat that?
I said, some people owe me money, and I asked them when they gonna pay me back, and they've been disloyal before, and I asked them for that on the ID, because I know you're gonna come back for your license. That's why it was in my drawer.
All right. When you were speaking to the police, at some point, did you learn that that phone belonged to a person who was found on Hartwell Street?
Yes, I
Actually,
saw
this is
a
what you learned from the police, Judge. I mean, it's hearsay.
Just asking, at some point, did he learn, not what was said?
Is it being offered for the truth?
I'll withdraw it, Judge. Mr. Thomas, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
I wonder, Judge, if I may, I think there's an easel with some paper in the back, if I may steal that for a second. Look at that. Borrow it.
Steal.
Okay. Is it okay? Sure. Mr. Thomas, I want to, before we get too far from direct examination. I want to confirm some of the things you said today, okay?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to start backwards. Number one, you said just now that those licenses in your drawer belong to people who owed you money,
Correct?
and you held on to their licenses until they paid you.
Yes, because that's the first thing.
I just want to confirm what you said. I'm not asking for an explanation right now, okay?
Okay.
I just want to confirm what you said. And I'm going to write them down so we don't forget them. Belong to people who owed you money. All right? Number two. The first picture of the knives, one of them was a switchblade, correct?
Correct?
And today you said you used that switchblade as a working knife, correct?
Correct?
And that switchblade is an automatic switchblade. You press a button, the blade comes out. Yes?
Yes?
So you use the switchblade as a utility knife, like a work
Yes, sir.
utility knife. Okay. Number three. Today you said that at the time you found the phone, the day you found the phone, you were not aware that there had been an incident on Hartwell Street where there had been a homicide, correct?
Correct?
So, not aware of homicide on Hartwell Street on the day found the phone, correct?
Correct?
Number four. Today you said that Greg took the phone without your knowledge.
Correct?
Greg took phone without my knowledge. And I'm sure I'm going to make typos here. Okay. Today you said that you received 3 phone calls on the phone when the phone was with you at work.
Correct?
And you picked up the phone and you can hear people in the background.
Correct?
So there was a connection, there was a phone connection,
Correct?
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 3 phone calls. So 3 phone calls that connected and heard people in the background on the other side of the call, right?
Yes, sir.
Number 6. Today you said that you operated one bay in the big garage
Correct,
as a mechanic.
correct,
And you had 4 employees
correct,
for that one bay.
correct.
At mechanic's shop. So I wrote, had 4 employees for one bay at mechanic's shop. Today you said that on the next day after you found the phone, you charged the phone for 6 to 7 hours.
Correct,
The phone came on,
correct,
you shut it off,
correct,
and you charged it more.
correct,
Charged phone 6, 7 hours. Phone came on. I shut it off. And charged it more. All right. Today you said that when you picked up the phone, water was coming out of the phone.
correct,
Number 9. Today you said you found the phone at 11 o'clock.
I didn't say that.
What time did you find the phone? That's what I heard, but you tell me.
So between 10 and 11 o'clock.
Okay? Found phone. Between 10 and 11 a.m. Yes?
Yes,
The 10. All right. Today, you said that morning, you started your day and went to Boost Mobile at 9 o'clock
correct,
to pay your phone bill.
correct,
At 9, right?
yeah, about 9.
Boost Mobile is at 207 French Street. Yes?
I don't keep track of the numbers in the building. I know what the phone.
It's on French Street.
Yeah,
The way you get to Boost Mobile from 75 Delafield is you come down Lewis Street. Yes?
yeah.
Because Lewis is close to 75, right?
Mhm.
And you come down Lewis Street, you pass Hamilton, yes?
Yeah,
You pass Somerset,
yeah.
and then you get to French Street.
Mhm.
You make a right on French Street,
Yeah,
and you go down French Street, I don't know how far, right?
yeah.
To 207, right?
Right. Right.
Or, if you don't remember the number, to Boost Mobile, okay?
Yep.
And today you said that's what you did on that day, correct?
No.
I'm talking about Boost Mobile now.
Oh, when I went to pay my bill?
Yeah, we're gonna go step by step, okay? So about Boost Mobile, you woke up in the morning, correct?
Correct?
You had to pay your bill.
Correct?
You come out of your house at 75 Delafield.
Correct?
You make a right on Lewis Street.
Nope,
Left?
nope, I'll go straight.
Oh, so it's right there on the corner?
No,
What?
that's not the road I take.
So you just told me you went down Lewis Street to French Street to pay your phone bill. You just said that, right?
No, I did not say that. Did I say that?
That's what I thought I heard.
No, that's what you thought they heard. No, they did not.
Okay, so how did you get to 207 French Street to pay your phone bill? We're just talking about the phone bill right now. We're not talking about when you went to the laundromat.
I go straight up Delafield.
Mhm.
Delafield has a little curve
Mhm.
that goes to the hearts. You go straight up, cross Hamilton, that's supposed to be like Dayton Caldwell, and then you go straight up, there's a park right here, and there's some building there, you go straight across, which is Somerset, is the next road. And you go straight down, and all the way 27, and then make a right. That's my road. I don't take the other roads.
Oh, so you didn't take the direct road to go pay your phone bill?
No.
You didn't just tell me that?
No.
Okay. But let's confirm that that's the direct road to get to Boost Mobile. D122, Mr. Thomas. '75 Delafield is number 16 on this map, correct? That's about where you lived, right?
I don't see the name.
Well, yeah, but you're familiar with the area, correct?
Mhm.
So number 16 is where 75 Delafield is, right? Okay. How about you tell me where Boost Mobile is on French Street? This is French Street, right down here.
First of all, like you take,
I didn't ask you what you took yet. Tell me where Boost Mobile is on French Street. Is there a number 20 on there? Right down here. Does that look to be about where Boost Mobile is? Or would have been?
yeah, something
Right in that area, right?
in the area.
So we're gonna write Boost Mobile on this. Okay? In that general area near number 20, right? And you live up here, correct?
Correct.
Lewis Street is where I'm pointing to, correct?
Correct.
So if you come out of your house, where's Delafield? Here? Or here? Up here. This is Delafield. So you come out of your house, and if you wanted to get to French Street, there's several ways you can go, correct?
I know, all right.
You're telling us today that you took Hartwell Street.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you didn't take Lewis Street to go pay your bill, correct?
Correct.
All right. So that's what you're standby today,
Yes, I
right?
take-
That you did not take Lewis Street to go pay your phone bill.
Correct, I take the same route every time.
Same route you take to go to the laundromat?
Yes.
Okay. Did not take Lewis Street to pay phone bill
took Hartwell to pay phone bill. Good, so far?
Yes.
Today you said that you went. This is the same day that you found the phone. You say, you went, paid your phone bill, and you went back home.
Yes. Correct?
That's what you're saying today.
Yes.
Paid phone bill. And went back home. You get home, and today you said you took your laundry and you went to do laundry, correct?
Correct?
Home, took laundry to laundromat on Hamilton Street, right?
Correct.
So let me just get this straight. You leave your home at 75 Delafield. You say you come down to Hartwell. I'm pointing to Hartwell here, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And you make your way down to French Street on one of these streets.
No. You're talking about laundry?
I'm talking about Boost Mobile first. That's what I'm talking about. So you come down from Delafield, right? You come down towards, I guess, New Brunswick. And then you take Hartwell, you said, right?
Correct.
And then you get to Hamilton.
Correct.
And then you take, I guess, one of these streets to get to French Street.
Yeah, no, one of them is Jackson.
Which one?
One of them is Jackson.
So,
It's between the park. As soon as you cross over Hamilton, you see the park.
this park here? There's a street called Jackson there?
One of those streets is Jackson.
Okay. So which one is Jackson?
I don't remember which one it is, actually.
Okay. Well, let's look at the map.
Crossover.
Let me look at the map. Let's pull up some maps. You said it's Jackson Street?
Yeah, one of those streets is Jackson Street. I recall.
Is it close to another street that you know by name?
Not really. Probably ties into, no, that's the other side of the thing. Somerset Street.
Is there another street you know by name that's not Jackson? That you would take to go to Boost Mobile to pay your phone?
No. I could pay attention too much to the signs and stuff when they travel. They just know I'm going.
Oh.
Like that is.
How about you with this pen here, with the, just use that as an extension of your hand, and trace which way you would go to pay your phone bill. Just, show us. Go ahead.
you take this street here with, next to the 3,
Yep,
okay? And then you make a right on French Street,
yep,
and you go all the way down French Street, correct?
correct,
Past Lewis Street, right?
yep,
And Lewis Street is very close to where you live, correct?
yep,
Okay. So you trace, just for the record, you leave your house on Delafield, you come down to Hartwell, correct?
correct,
You make a right on Hartwell, right? We're
correct,
just talking about phone bills right now, right?
correct,
You travel on Hartwell to Hamilton, correct?
correct,
Then the street that you pointed to is called Plum Street, correct?
Plum Street,
That's the one you pointed to here, right? The street here, where the 5 and the 3 are?
no,
Didn't you just point to that, sir?
no,
Tell me again which road you
No.
took. No? Here. Tell me again which road you took to travel down to
if you
French
could put
Street.
it on the screen, I could show it.
Judge, I'm trying to understand what the witness is.
Hold on, there's an objection. What's your objection?
I don't know.
Is there a better way that he can just trace it so that everybody understands what he's
Judge,
showing?
I'm
Can
handing
you
him
put
the
it
map.
on the screen so that perhaps we
I
can?
mean, I don't, I guess I could put my
I
maps on.
think it's easier for the jury, it's easier
Sure,
for
yeah.
everyone to see it. Just put
Let me
it on.
see that, HDMI cable. Let me see if I can pull up Google Maps, Judge. Let me see here. We're gonna put up 75 Delafield, okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
I should have put New Brunswick. Here it is. Here we go. Okay. All right. So this is Delafield Street here where my mouse is, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, sir. You leave your home to go pay your phone bill. Now, we're only talking about your phone bill, okay?
correct,
And before we talk about the route here, just, so, all right. This is Delafield, right?
correct,
Right here. Okay, you say you come down Delafield,
correct,
see where the mouse is?
yep,
And you come to this intersection,
yes, sir,
you make a right.
correct. That's correct.
That's Hartwell Street, right?
Yep,
And then, okay, and then you come down Hartwell Street to Hamilton.
correct.
And then, where do you go from here?
That little side street right there,
This one?
yes, one right there.
Okay, so as I indicated before, that's Plum Street, correct?
Yeah,
Plum Street, right?
I guess so.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry, Judge, please, sidebar, for 1 minute, explanation.
so Mr. Thomas, no dispute that that's the route that we just described that you take, right? You come down Hartwell, and you come down to this street here.
No.
What do you mean? So, well, go ahead, you tell me,
You see
sir.
why I'm in that park right there? That park, it takes me all the way down there to Somerset Street.
Okay, so it wasn't the other street you're talking about? All right, so the street, so you come down Hartwell,
Yeah,
you get to Hamilton, you know Hamilton.
yes.
Where do you go from there? You tell me.
Yeah, but if I usually go to that park right there, not right. That park right there,
This park?
that park right there,
Okay. Okay, so how do you,
that goes straight down the thing.
So you make a right on Hamilton and make a left at this street?
Yeah.
All right.
I remember going in that circle all the time. That's why I
Okay.
don't pay my phone bill.
All right, so you make a right on Hamilton, yes? I'm just trying to confirm the route, sir.
I'm trying to confuse them.
I'm not trying to confuse you, sir. I'm just trying to confirm the route. You make a right on Hamilton, right?
Yeah, you said it, yeah, right.
Yes.
Sir, I tell you, for attorneys, I usually go to the park from there. That's why you go.
Okay, how about, do you want to get up and point to the screen? Is that better, Judge? Please, go ahead, sir. Would you like to point to this screen? Because you can move the mouse on this screen. Would you like to do that?
Go over there, I line up, sorry. I want up in this park over here. And then you go all the way down,
Okay.
all the way down
To
to
French Street.
Somerset.
Okay, so let me open that up.
And there's another road across on Somerset there, before I hit the front street.
So, and I'm just gonna repeat what you said, okay? You come down Hartwell Street, right? You make a right on Hamilton Street, right, on this street.
Mhm.
And then you come down the street where the park is.
Correct.
Am I good so far?
So far?
Then, that street, for the record, Judge, that's Harvey Street. That street continues across, and the first intersection, what do you call that first intersection?
Somerset Street.
Somerset Street. And it still continues across all the way to what street?
27,
Which is what street?
French Street.
All right, so 27 is also French Street, right? So, and then you make a right on French Street, right?
Correct.
And you go to 207 French Street. It's called now Metro Mobile. Does that look familiar? Was it called Boost Mobile before?
Yeah, I don't know whose move it is.
Metro Mobile, it's the same thing?
I'm gonna look at the same thing.
Okay.
You say Metro Motors.
I mean, that's what it says on the screen, but it's in that area, right?
Well, I know it's at Boost Mobile.
But it's in the area where the red circle is,
Correct.
or the red, or whatever they call that pin. All right, and let me just come out here a little bit. You come down, this is the street by the park, right? And then you make a right on French.
Correct.
Okay. So that's the route you take to pay your phone bill, correct?
All the time. Yes, sir.
And for the record, Judge, I don't know if I said that was Harvey, right? I think I said that.
You did.
All right. So now that we've established what that route is, let's go back to what you did. You went back home.
Correct.
Did you go back home the same way that you went to pay your phone bill?
Correct.
So you went back up French Street,
Correct.
made a left on that street that goes by the park, which is, for the record, is Harvey, correct?
Correct.
That takes you all the way up to Hamilton.
Correct.
You make a right on Hamilton,
Correct.
and you go up Hartwell,
Correct.
go to the intersection where
Correct.
Delafield is,
Correct.
make a left on Delafield,
Correct.
and then go home.
Correct.
This entire time, you're passing Lewis Street on, both on French Street and up near Delafield, correct?
Correct.
So-
I know where Lewis Street is at, so
What was that?
I know where Lewis Street is at.
I'm sorry.
I said, I know where Lewis Street is at.
Right.
I know where it's at.
Okay. So, but you're going past Lewis Street to go around back up to Delafield, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you went back the same way to the house to get the laundry,
Correct.
to go back down to the laundromat the same way you came to do your laundry, correct?
Correct.
Today you said that you did both of those things in the same day, correct?
Correct.
So did both Boost Mobile and Laundromat in the same day. And that's the day that you claim you found the phone, correct?
Correct.
Same day, claims found phone. So, a total of 4 times you traveled by via Hartwell Street, correct? That day.
Yeah, Hartwell Street.
You traveled on Hartwell Street that day a total of 4 times. That's what you say today.
Yep.
And just to confirm, which of the 4, on which of the 4 did you find the phone? The first time down, the second time up, the third time down, or the 4th time up?
Third time up.
The third time up?
Yeah, from my house.
So when you had the laundry coming down to do the laundry.
Yeah.
So number 16, just to confirm that you claim you found the phone when you were going from your house to the laundromat, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Would now be a time to take?
It probably is.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to, but
Yes. All right, so we'll take our mid-morning recess at this time. Please do not talk about the case. Thank you, be seated.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
You worked in, at that bay, in that garage there. How many bays did that garage have?
big garage.
Yeah, but different people own it.
I'm sorry.
Different people owns it.
You rented a bay there.
One bay. That's all he said he could rent.
What was that?
That's all he said he could rent. One bay.
So you rented one bay
Yeah.
in that big garage. And people would come to you to fix their cars, right?
Yes, sir.
And when people would come to you to fix their cars, sometimes they had money, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes they did not, correct?
correct.
And at times, people may barter goods with you for services, correct?
Correct.
So if they didn't have money, for example, and they had something that they can trade for the service, they would do that.
Correct.
And you've done that with people at the shop, correct?
Correct. Something else that I can go.
There's no question pending right now, sir. So, there's no question right now.
Mr. Maserati, can I ask you to just, this, right here, you're gonna use it right now?
Where do you, in a minute, what do you want me to do? I can move it back that way?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, of course. Sorry,
That's all right. Thank you.
tell me when.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
All right, sounds good. All right. Now, I just want to confirm with you something you said today. The guy Greg that had the phone,
Yeah,
it's your position that he worked for you
yeah, it worked for me.
sometimes,
Sometimes, yeah. Well,
and you give him you would have to pay him, right?
yeah, I give him a little $10 here and there, but he don't do it for free.
And it's your testimony, and I want to reconfirm that you did not give Greg the phone, correct?
Correct.
So it's your testimony that he took the phone, correct?
Correct.
Without your knowledge.
Correct.
So I want to start talking about some of those things that we went over just now. Let's start with number one. You gave a statement to the police back in 2014.
Correct.
It was on February 21st, 2014. Correct?
I don't remember exactly what date it was, 2014.
Hold on. I'm going to show you what's been marked D113 for identification. Manager. Okay. This here is a transcript of your testimony. Transcript of your statement. Yes?
Second.
You had an opportunity to go over this during your trial preparation with the prosecutor's office?
No, I remember.
You didn't prepare for your testimony?
I didn't paper like this.
Okay. Is it your testimony that you've never received a copy of the transcript of your statement?
No, not to my knowledge, to be honest with you.
Not a problem. But you did in fact prepare for your testimony with these prosecutors before coming here to testify before us, correct?
Yes.
And you had an opportunity to go over with them the questions that they were going to ask you?
Yes, we did the right phone. Yes.
by phone, you still talked to them, right?
Yes,
Prepared for your testimony.
yes,
You went over the questions that they were gonna generally pose to you, correct?
correct,
And what your answers are gonna be, correct?
yes,
All right. So, this statement that you gave to the police is on February 21st, 2014, correct?
correct,
2 days after you claim you found the phone, correct?
correct,
So, the memory of finding the phone was fresh in your mind.
correct,
It was only 2 days afterwards that you spoke to the police.
correct,
And the police, when they came to question you, Mr. Thomas, there's a lot of police officers that came to the house.
correct,
They took you down to the station.
correct,
2 police officers were in the room with you.
correct,
They both asked you a lot of questions.
correct,
And before they asked you those questions, Mr. Thomas, they read you your Miranda rights.
correct,
They told you you had a right to have a lawyer, have a right to not say anything, and all these things, right?
right,
And they did not speak to you before they put you in the room and interviewed you, correct?
correct,
So it was from your house to the interview room,
correct,
and I don't know if I asked, both officers asked a lot of questions.
yes, correct,
And when you were answering those questions, you were answering those questions from remembering what you claim happened 2 days before, correct?
correct,
This transcript here, your statement begins at, let's see here. 11:21 p.m. in the night. And it doesn't have an end time, but it was, like what, 30-minute statement, you'd say?
yeah, about that,
The transcript of that statement is 29 pages, yes?
I have no idea how much pages it was.
Well, I'm gonna show you now.
Okay, yeah,
Yep. And you have no reason to dispute the accuracy of this transcript, correct?
correct,
Now, nowhere in that statement do you tell the police that those licenses in your drawer belong to people who owed you money, correct?
correct,
And speaking of those licenses, Mr. Thomas, the licenses of those people in your drawer, we can see the pictures of those people, correct?
correct,
On the licenses.
correct,
And it's your testimony that those people on those licenses had cars that they went with those cars to your shop, they fixed their cars, right?
correct,
Now, you testified a couple of years after this statement in a prior proceeding, correct?
correct,
And that prior proceeding, Mr. Thomas, was testimony under oath. You swore to tell the truth, correct?
correct,
You were asked a lot of questions, correct?
correct,
By both the prosecutors and by myself, correct?
correct,
And I'm going to show you D-191. This is December 7th, 2016 testimony, Donald. This here is a transcript of your testimony, correct?
correct,
And when testimony is given, it's recorded and later transcribed, correct?
yes,
And you have no reason to doubt the accuracy of this transcript, correct?
correct,
So your testimony starts at page 53. You're Randy Thomas, right?
yeah,
Starts at page 53, correct?
correct,
And it ends at page 220, correct?
correct,
Hold on, maybe it ends a little bit maybe a little bit more. Hold on. Let's see, let's count exactly where it ends. Well, it's around 220, in the 220s. Okay, yes? Correct?
Correct.
That area we discussed yesterday.
You have an objection, you want to be heard?
Yes, Judge Wright.
Remain seated.
Okay. So, nowhere in your prior testimony did you say that those licenses belonged to people who had their cars fixed at your shop and they owed you money, correct?
Correct.
We already talked about using the switchblade as a utility knife. Now I want to talk about number 3. You claim that you were not aware that there was a homicide on Hartwell Street on the day you found the phone, correct?
Correct.
Now, the day you found the phone was Wednesday, or you claim was Wednesday, February 19th, correct? Which would be 2 days before February 21st when you gave your statement, correct?
Correct.
All right. So you claim that you were not aware that there was a homicide on Hartwell Street before the day that you found your phone.
Correct.
I'm going to show you D13, again, D113 again. And then we're going to go to page 28. Line 4. And I'm going to begin at question 1. Line 1, question. Well, I'm going to ask you to do that. We definitely,
You have an objection?
Yes. Is your refreshing recollection?
no, Judge, I'm impeaching.
What's your objection?
Well, I'm going to ask you to do that. We definitely want to go back and see exactly where, because I want to picture it in relation to everything else I know about. Your answer on line 4, yeah, but it was cops all over that whole place there. The Monday when I went and do laundry, because I do laundry right there at Hamilton Laundry thing right there. Question, line 7, you passed by the cops when they're there? Answer, on line 8, I passed right by the same side that day, right by the snowbank while I was on the sidewalk. Correct? I read that right?
I said there was people, a lot of people in the street.
Did I read that right?
I said there was a lot of people in the street, that's what I said, I remember what I said.
Yes, sir. But did I read those words right?
Yeah, you said cops.
I mean, I could read it again.
You don't have to read it again, let's move on.
So, it was Monday, according to the statement that you gave to the police, that you walked on Hartwell Street and you saw the cops there, correct?
Yeah.
And on that day, the police officers gave you a flyer, correct?
They give me a piece of paper, but I didn't really look at it.
They gave you the flyer about the homicide, correct?
Correct, but I didn't look at it.
You kept the flyer, yes?
Yes,
You took it home on Monday, correct?
correct,
And when the police came to your house to search the house, the flyer was still there, correct?
correct,
And that's the flyer that you got from the police on Monday, right?
correct,
Talking about the homicide, correct?
correct,
And that Monday is the Monday that you told the police you went to do your laundry, correct?
correct.
You told us today that you were very concerned about who owned the phone, right?
Correct,
You wanted to return the phone to the rightful owner, right?
correct,
And in order to return the phone to the rightful owner, you would need to know who the rightful owner is, right?
correct,
Now, the phone, at some point, turned on. You told us that you shut it off, correct?
correct,
You did not go into the phone and see who the owner of the phone was, correct?
correct,
And and you didn't call the people or the numbers that called the phone back, correct?
correct,
You did not call the police and turn the phone in, correct?
correct,
You did not do anything of the sort, but you took the phone to your place of business, correct?
correct,
You said today that water was basically draining out of the phone, right?
correct,
And you put the phone by the heater, correct?
correct.
And this is an iPhone, right?
I don't even know what the phone is. I just see the phone and
But you had a charger for it.
yeah, I have a lot of chargers in the phones.
So you said you put it next to a heater, and a few hours later, it had dried and it turned on.
Correct,
Today, again, confirming, you said that you found the phone between 10 and 11 a.m., right?
correct,
Showing you D113 again. I'm going to go to page 21. Actually 18. Page 18 of your statement, sir, right here. Line 7, question. What day did you find the phone? Your answer on line 8. I find it on Wednesday, that Wednesday afternoon. It was 2-something because I know when the rain stopped. And I say, you know something, I gotta go put minutes on my phone. And she was still there. Did I read that correctly? Line 7 through 11, did I read that correctly? I did?
yeah.
Thank you. All right. Now today, we confirmed what you said about the sequence of events. You said that you did both go pay your phone bill,
Correct,
and do the laundry
correct,
on the day you claim you found the phone.
correct,
That's what you're saying here today.
correct.
Back to D113, Mr. Thomas. I'm gonna go to page 12, line 1. Actually, let's go to 11 so we can capture the question. All right, let's start at 11 so we can capture the question on line 18. Question, okay. Anything unusual happen on the way, on any of your walks to work, anything unique? Come across anything that comes to mind, that just something jumps out at you? Your answer on line 21 is no, not really, correct?
Correct.
And then the officer, the detective, asks you again, nothing unusual? And then the answer on line 12, on page 12, line 1, after the second time the officer asks you if anything unusual happened, you say, just when was Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon, I was on my way to pay my phone bill because I was home sick with my back still, was acting up, but I had like a fever and stuff. So I waited a little in the day when the rain stops to walk downtown into the Boost Mobile thing right here in French Street to pay my bill, and I came across a phone, an iPhone, right? You identified the phone here, correct?
Yeah, but
All right, so that's what you told the officers on February 21st, 2014, correct? Nowhere else in that statement did you say to them that you found the phone when you were on your way to do laundry, correct?
correct,
In fact, what you told them about the laundry is you had gone to do your laundry on that Monday of that week, correct?
correct.
All right. Mr. Thomas, that day that you claimed that you found the phone, you were sick with a fever, correct?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling good, correct.
Sick with a fever. It was really, really cold outside, correct?
Yep,
And you would agree with me, and it's fair to say, that if you want to get from point A to point B, when you're really sick with a fever, and it's really cold outside, you're going to take the quickest way possible, correct?
yep, but
Makes sense, right?
makes sense, yep, so.
Now, also, On the day that you claim you found the phone, on that Wednesday, the police were still out there on Hartwell Street, correct?
Why do I recall?
What was that?
Why you recall? Not why you recall. No, not why you recall.
They were not out there on Wednesday.
No, I didn't see none of them out there.
Judge, one of the jurors is raising their hand.
Sorry, can you pull the microphone?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, just, it's good to let us know.
Thank you.
One second, Judge. Okay. So I'm going to show you D191. I'm going to show you page 113, okay? If you can just read that for yourself and let me know when you've read line 1 to line 1 to 25. This paragraph here. Take your time, sir.
Yep.
Ready?
I'm gonna show you one other little spot, okay? Just so you can see both. We're gonna go to 154, okay? We're gonna go to 154, and you're gonna read line 1 to line 7, okay? Just 5, 6 lines. Line 1 to line 7. Read that for yourself and let me know when you are ready to answer my questions.
Yep.
Does that refresh your recollection related to the question I asked you about whether you saw the police on Hartwell Street the day you claimed you found the phone?
Yep.
The police were on Hartwell Street, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, that's, sidebar, please.
Mr. Thomas, I'm gonna go back just a second to ask you again, does that refresh your recollection about the question that I asked you?
Yep, it's on the paper.
Does it refresh your, he said, because yes, it's on paper. So does it refresh your recollection about seeing the police on Hartwell Street the day you claimed you found the phone?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
And you told us already how you wanted to get this phone back to its rightful owner, correct?
Correct.
And the police are right there handing out flyers, doing whatever they were doing on Hartwell Street, correct?
Correct.
You did not walk up to a police officer and say, "Officer, I just found this item," correct?
Correct.
Did you tell Greg, and does Varga sound right? Greg Varga? Last name? Varga? Does that refresh your recollection as to who we're talking about?
Yeah, I think that's what it's like. I'm not too sure, but I think Varga. Yeah, Gregory Varga.
Gregory Varga.
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell Gregory Varga that you found the phone by St. Peter's Hospital?
No, I didn't.
You sure about that?
Correct. I told him exactly what I found in Hartwell.
So it's your testimony that you told Gregory Varga that you found the phone on Hartwell Street?
Yeah.
It's your testimony, and I want to confirm this again, that you did not tell Gregory Varga that you found the phone by St. Peter's Hospital?
No, I didn't.
All right. St. Peter's Hospital is in a different direction than Hartwell
Exactly.
Street. Well, let me just finish my question. I want the jury to hear your answer. St. Peter's Hospital is in a completely opposite and different direction than Hartwell Street, correct?
Correct.
It's actually on the other side of where you live, right?
Correct.
Almost diagonal from Hartwell Street.
Right, behind where I live.
What was that?
Well, 2 buildings behind where I live.
Behind diagonal to Hartwell, correct?
Correct.
You're kind of almost in the, well, not really in the middle, but on an axis. St. Peter's is behind you, Hartwell is forward of you, if you will.
Correct.
Two very different places, correct?
Totally different, yes.
you claim that this phone was pushed up or plowed up onto a snowbank, correct?
Correct,
I guess with a plow, is that what you're saying?
correct,
And the plow would have presumably plowed the phone from we don't know where, correct?
correct,
And you happen to find it up on a snowbank plowed up, correct?
correct.
According to the statement that you gave to the police, Mr. Thomas, about being on Hartwell Street on Monday, not on Wednesday when you claim you found the phone, on Monday, according to that statement, where you told the police, I went down Hartwell Street to go do my laundry on Monday, correct? I'm talking about the statement now, all right? According to that statement, when you would have traveled the same way to do your laundry as any other day, correct?
Correct.
Down Hartwell Street, correct?
Mhm.
Right by the spot where you claim you found the phone, right? Yes?
It's difficult to answer those things because you tell me first time that it was raining when I told him I found the phone, and then now you're talking about on the snowbank.
Move closer to the microphone.
On
I
the
see yours.
snowbank is where I found it, because you're talking about when it was raining, I said I found the phone.
I'm talking about what you said to the police, sir.
One of your statements there, yes,
I'm talking about what you said to the police.
so they already got it mixed up then.
I'm just talking about what you said to the police. To the police, you said, and we went over that before, that you went down to do your laundry on Monday. That's what you said to the police, right?
Correct.
That same week, right? A few days after you claim you found this phone, right?
Right,
Okay, so, and you would have traveled the same route to go do your laundry,
correct,
whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right?
correct,
Doesn't matter, that's the route you take, you said.
correct.
Now, on that day, when you saw also the police presence, you did not see any phone, correct?
Correct.
And you would have walked right by that snowbank, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, you told the police, Mr. Thomas, that you're always looking around for things, right? Little gadgets and things, right?
Yeah, that was on the road, yeah.
That's what you told them, correct?
Something might do, yeah, I don't remember telling them that.
Well, let me show you. Page 13, line 3 of D113. Okay, now check out lines 3 to line 10. This is page 13 of the transcript of your statement, right? Read that to yourself from line 3 to line 10, take your time, and let me know when you're ready to answer a question about that. It refreshes your rec, I'm only really asking about looking around for stuff.
Because I went to pay my phone bill first and I came back home. And when I went to wash my clothes, that's a different set, right there. And then you put both of those things in the wrong sentences.
I'm asking you about looking for things.
Yes, well, I look at things all the time, and things drop, stuff like that there.
That's what I'm asking you about, right? People, you say people drop things.
Yes.
And in the interest of clarity, let me, may I read this?
Sure.
So you were going to the Boost place, you're already on your way back. Yeah, I was on my way to the Boost place when I found, it was sitting in the ice and stuff like that there, and when I saw it there, cause I ain't look around for stuff like that, you know, people drop them, all kinda like little gadgets and stuff like that. I look around for stuff like that there, so I picked it up. It was so, I don't know what the word is, then come home and I press a button, right? Did I read that right?
Yeah, you read it right.
And the question I asked you before was that, you know, that Monday when you told the police in this statement that you went down to do your laundry and you took that same route, you were behaving the very same way. You were looking around, trying to see if you could find something, correct?
Correct.
And you did not see anything that Monday when you went down to do your laundry. It was at least what you told the police when you went to do your laundry, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. I'm good, Judge, thank you.
Redirect.
May I approach again?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas, I'm showing you S21. Do you recognize that?
Might be the phone, yeah, but it's been so long.
Did everybody hear that? Okay, speak into the microphone, please.
What'd you say?
That might be the phone, but it's been so long, so I don't remember.
What makes you say it might be the phone?
It might be the phone, because the reason why we have the screen that cracked up, but it's been so long, so much years, I don't remember stuff like that. Those are just gadgets and stuff like that. I don't remember those. I mean, words and stuff like that there, what the stuff like that, I would remember. But that maybe could be the phone. I think that was the phone actually. I don't know whether it's a black phone or a white phone, but. Yeah,
Sorry. Okay. Tell us, again, how the phone was situated in the snow and how it drew your attention.
It drew my attention when I was going back up the street to wash my clothes. They plowed the street, but some of the cars were dug out, and a couple of them, like, on the end, they didn't move the car, so it was plowed in. But the one in front of it was plowed out in the back, so they moved the car, and I was walking by, and I saw a glare, like the sun was out, and glaring on the glass, I thought it was a glass, which actually, I looked at the car and stuff like that, and like, it wasn't the car, so I thought it was nothing in the car, like, then when I looked again, I saw this shiny stuff shining back at me, in my eye, directly in my eye, like, it bothers me, like. So I walked over and I go out between two cars and was sitting on top of the snowbank. The reason why is I was walking in the middle of the street because the sidewalk wasn't plowed at all, it wasn't clean. So I didn't walk on the sidewalk, I took it in the middle of the road, I walked straight in the middle of the road because that was clean. I was not trying to slip.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you this. What's the, where'd you go to school?
Me? Edison Job Corps.
What's the,
Judge, can we, actually, no, never mind. Not a problem. Not a problem.
what grade did you complete there?
I got my GED and my high school diploma.
Thank you.
We're done.
All right, you can step down watch your step on the way down there. Steve, call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor. We're gonna call Chaim Greenberg, Your
I'm sorry, what was the name?
Honor. Chaim Greenberg?
Chaim Greenberg.
Yes. Your Honor, you shouldn't be very long, I think I can make it.
So please just watch your step, stand in front of the chair. Raise your right hand. State your name for the record.
Chaim Greenberg,
Spell your last name.
Greenberg.
Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. May I have a seat? Please speak into the microphone for the jury.
Good afternoon, Mr. Greenberg.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'm gonna ask you to speak as loud as possible so that all the jurors can hear you, even way back here where I am, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, excellent. So, where do you work?
I currently work at Comb Industries in White Plains, New York.
All right, and what's your level of education?
I graduated, I have a bachelor's and I graduated from Rutgers.
All right, let's focus on that. What years did you attend Rutgers?
I was in school from 2011 until 2015.
Let's talk about 2014. Do you recall where you were residing at in 2014?
I do.
Where were you residing?
I was living at 31 Robinson Street here in New Brunswick.
And do you recall who you were residing with?
I do.
All right, can you please provide those names to the jury?
I can.
Thank you.
I was living with Amalan Krishnamurthy, Minu Sung, who goes by Otto, Minsu Sung, who goes by Ed, Rahul Prabhudasai, Andrew Awana, and Michael Wu.
All right, and I'm going to draw your attention to February 14, 2014. Do you recall that day?
I do.
All right, can you tell the jury a little bit about what you were doing on that particular evening?
That was Valentine's night. At the time, I was dating somebody. We attended a movie at the Menlo Park AMC Theater, about 10-15 minutes from where I was living at the time. We then returned home and went to sleep after the movie completed.
All right, and when you returned home, do you recall what time that was around?
It would be a ballpark. I don't know the exact
Sure.
time. I believe it was somewhere around 11-ish at night, so 11 p.m.
All right, and when you arrived with your date, did you notice anything going on outside?
I did not.
All right, and then what did you go inside?
Went inside. The layout of the house led me to the upstairs, which is where I was living at the time. And the stairs are located as soon as you enter the home. And so I took the stairs upstairs to the room I was living in at the time.
All right, and the room that you were living in at the time, was it towards the front of the house? I'm sorry, what kind of home was it?
It was a multi-family home. There were quite a few rooms on the second level, and really just one floor on the first one room on the first level.
Okay.
And then on the first level as well was a dining area and then a kitchen area. And my room was located on the second floor facing towards Robinson Street.
All right.
Yeah, facing not the back area, the front of the house.
All right, would you be able to hear if something was going on in the back area from where your room was?
I would imagine so. I guess it would depend on the volume, but I definitely I couldn't definitively say that I wouldn't be able to hear it.
Okay.
If the volume was loud enough, I would suspect it would be possible to hear what was going on, or hear a noise
Okay.
if it was loud.
Now, so did you hear anything suspicious over the evening on that evening?
That I did not, no.
Okay. Now, can you tell us about that next morning, February 15, 2014? Tell the jury what happened when you woke up.
Absolutely. We woke up a little later in the morning, maybe somewhere to the tune of like 10 a.m. As I previously stated, the house, most of the living space was at the top, the shared spaces on the bottom. Ended up going downstairs into the kitchen living room area, starting to prepare breakfast, and then noticed some commotion and heard some commotion coming from outside. As you know, hearing the noises, we looked out back and noticed that there was a tent that had been set up, as well as a few police officers in the backyard area.
All right, now I'm gonna show you a couple of exhibits. And Chaim, do you go by any other name besides Chaim?
I go by label, like a label on something.
Okay, thank you. And what's already been provided in Discovery, shown in Discovery, evidence, S-144B. These,
If they're in evidence, you don't.
that one is, I don't think these. Good. Your Honor, approaching with the witness with S-911, S-912, 915, and 141A.
That's 911, 912.
915
Okay.
and 141A.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to take a moment, look at those, and just let me know if you can identify them and if they're a fair and accurate depiction of 31 Robinson in the area, the front and back of the home.
Your question was if these are accurate?
Fair and accurate depiction of the area.
They are.
All right, thank you very much. So I want to first, Your Honor, the state seeks to move into
No
evidence.
objection, Judge.
Thank you very much. I'd first like you to look on the screen that's next to you and see S-144B. Can you explain what that is to the jury?
That is 31 Robinson. The front area had a fenced in or a caged in porch, which is mostly of what you're seeing. And then the first level is just past that initial, gated or fenced off, screened off area. And then that is the second level, and then there is a third level, and then there is a third level as well at the top.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move to S-911, yep, 911. What is that?
This would be the entrance, the steps leading up to, and the entrance of that screened-in porch that I just described.
All right, and how would you have entered the home that evening that you just described on the 14th?
Through that door, you can kind of make out the actual front door entrance a little bit behind that screen, and I would have opened that door and gone into the home that way.
All right, thank you. And 912? Do you recognize this?
I do.
All right, and what is that for the jury?
There's a few things, but 31 Robinson, again, is what we just looked at, that's on the left. 29 Robinson, which is the house next door, is on the right. And what's in the middle is a, I guess, cut through that would lead you directly into the backyard. You would not need to go through the home to get to the backyard. You could just use that cutaway and get directly into the backyard that way.
All right, and then what would you be going to in the backyard to?
There, you could also enter the home through the back door. If you, for some reason, didn't use the front door, you could use the back door to get into the home that way.
Okay.
That would pretty much be the main reason I think you would use the backyard.
All right, and I don't want you to,
For that.
that's fine. And I believe we have one more, 141, oh, I'm sorry, 915. What is that? What is that?
That is the cut through that was previously described. Actually, here is a good picture. You can actually see the home that sits on Hartwell through onto the other side. So that is the other street, and you can see it's the rear of that home. So that would be a house on Hartwell, and again, that is the cutway in between 31 Robinson on your left and 29 Robinson on your right.
All right, thank you. And then one more, I believe we have 141A. What is that?
So this is the backyard of Robinson Street, and the cutout from this angle would be on the left. You can not make too much of, you can't see it fully from this angle, but On the left now, you're on the opposite side, is 29 Robinson, on the right is 31 Robinson, and that's the cut through over there on the left, and then this is the backyard.
All right,
And the back door that you can enter the home in as described.
all right. Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
I have no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, you may sit down.
Thank you.
Do you have a short witness, or you wanna break it this time?
He was the short witness.
Okay, all right, so we'll take our lunch hour at this time. Please enjoy your lunch, don't talk about this case. We'll see you back in an hour.
We're going to 4:30 today?
Yes.
Well, that's a.
Or whatever witnesses we have.
Yeah, we have witnesses, but I think we have 3 witnesses for the afternoon. I think instead of bringing them back after the break, maybe we could address the council's motion so that we know how we're moving forward with Gordon.
Is that one of your witnesses for this afternoon?
No, that's the
Okay.
point, but for tomorrow and for the next week, we just would want to be able to address that now, since obviously council filed it yesterday, we wanna have that so that we know where we're going. But we do have witnesses lined up for the afternoon at least until 3. And I would just say at that point, instead of a break, we can let them go.
I mean, if we're done at 3, then we'll use the time wisely, for sure.
Exactly.
Judge, can we go on the record, please?
All right, we're on the record in matter of state of New Jersey versus Puskas. Counsel and the defendant are present, we're waiting for the jury to come into the room. You wanted to address the record?
Yes, Judge. I think this is a matter of, that's time sensitive. I just asked Mr. Shevlin if they're calling Gregory Varga, and Ms. Gibbs indicated they'll tell me who they're gonna call or when they're gonna call. The reason I bring this up now is, I don't know if Mr. Varga is still alive, number one. I have investigators running around the state of Florida looking for Mr. Varga, and we have not found him. So I need to know what information the state has about Mr. Varga. I know last time he lived in Florida, I believe, if he's still alive, he still lives in Florida. The address that was provided by the state is not an address for him. So to subpoena somebody from out of state, requires quite a bit of, I gotta petition court down there.
Understood.
All right, so I asked that question today because Mr. Thomas obviously testified, Mr. Varga is the other half of the equation. If the state's not intending on calling him, I need to know like sooner rather than later, and if he's still alive. There's a lot of things that I don't know because my investigators in Florida have not been able to find.
Your Honor, the address that we have for Mr. Vargas will be provided to council. At this point, we have to see how our case goes in. But the same thing council says, we have not spoken to Mr. Vargas. But if we need to find Mr. Vargas, I guess we'll be doing the same kind of chase that council is doing himself. So right now, the address that he has is the address that we have.
So does council have a good phone number for Mr. Varga?
Again, the exact same information that we provided is what council has. And I believe I just placed on the record, we have not spoken to him.
Okay. I'm requesting and asking that the state ask their detectives or whoever is looking for witnesses whether they've been able to get in touch with Mr. Varga, Judge. Because I don't know if he's alive. And if he's not alive, I need to know, So, state has represented today that they have not spoken to him, and I assume no one from their office has. If the state's saying they have not spoken to him, and I asked for a good phone number. So if there's a good phone number, I don't have, they've never provided a phone number, they just provided an address in Lago, Florida. He's not there. So,
They've indicated that you have what they have, so if there's nothing to turn over based on those statements, then I guess that's all you have.
so there's no phone number.
Council, I just say you have what we have.
What was that?
You have what we have. You have the information we have. And council, we don't have a problem running another clear, running another search. You have what we have.
Okay.
Your Honor, the state calls Jeff Temple.
You follow me, sir? Please wipe your step and stand in front of the chair. Please raise your right hand. State your name for the record.
Jeffrey Temple,
Spell your last name.
T-E-M-P-L-E.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You may have a seat, and please use the microphone to project to the jury.
Good morning, Mr. Temple.
Morning.
Where do you work right now?
L'Oreal.
Are you presently retired?
Yes, I am.
Also. Did you used to work at the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office?
Yes, I did.
Were you working at the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office back in March of 2014?
Yes, I was.
What unit were you assigned to at that point in time?
Major crimes, homicide.
On March 24, 2014, were you asked to take a measurement in connection to a homicide case?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall the specific addresses that you were asked to measure?
It was between two residences here in New Brunswick, 28 Hartwell and 64 Plum Street in town.
And did you actually do that measurement?
Yes, I did.
How did you do the measurement?
I utilized a trundle measuring wheel, which you walk behind and push, and it gives you an approximate measurement.
And did you measure from one address to the other?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to show you S101 already in evidence. It's already been shown to counsel for the record. S101, S210, and S925. Do you recognize those?
Yes.
Tell us what S925 is.
This looks to be a Google map showing the area in question in New Brunswick. It shows Plum Street as well as Hartwell Street.
About S210.
This is a picture of the house at 64 Plum Street.
And S101.
This is a picture of the house at 28 Hartwell Street.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves S210 and S925 in
No
evidence.
objection.
What?
9:25.
Okay. S925 is up on the screen. There's a pointer up here. The top button. Can you point out Hartwell Street?
Hartwell Street is over here.
How about Plum?
Plum would be right down here, below it.
All right, let's go to the next photo. All right, S101. Do you recognize that?
Yes, that's 28 Hartwell Street.
Next photo.
It's 64 Plum Street.
All right, so that's S210 for the record. What was the approximate measurement between 64 Plum and 28 Hartwell?
910 feet.
And that's what the wheel that you used indicated?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all the questions I have.
Yes, sir, very briefly. Those trundle wheels are the common tool that are used to measure distances like that?
For approximate measurements, it's not as accurate as other films.
Right, we're not doing like a road survey, I assume.
Correct.
So for purposes of measuring approximate footage in inches, I guess, that would be the tool to use.
Yeah, it won't give you inches, it's foot approximate.
Okay. And as far as that's concerned, as far as foot approximate, they're accurate for approximate.
For approximate measurements, yes.
Okay. And 910 feet is the approximate measurement between the two.
Yes.
Do you remember what brand trundle wheel it was?
No.
Okay. Does Lufkin sound familiar to you as a brand that you've used in the past?
I don't recognize that name.
Okay. Were you requested to take any other measurements in this case?
No.
With the trundle bit?
No.
That was the only one?
That's my recollection, that was the only one.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may
Thank you.
Your Honor, the state calls Daniel Reed.
Okay, sir, just please watch your step and stand in front of the chair. Please raise your right hand. State your name for the record.
Daniel Reed,
Spell your last name.
R-E-E-D.
And you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. May I have a seat and please use the microphone to project to the jury.
Good afternoon, Mr. Reed.
Good afternoon.
All right, so that microphone in front of you amplifies. What we're gonna try to do is keep that in front of you the entire time so that everybody in the courtroom can hear you. Really, most importantly, the jurors at the end here, so you wanna be as loud as possible, all right?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Where do you work, sir?
Verizon Wireless,
And how long have you been with Verizon Wireless?
18 years.
And what is your current job duty?
I'm a senior analyst, and in that role, I handle testimony for criminal and civil trials as a custodian of records. I also handle arbitration matters, small claims, and other legal complaints that come to our executive office.
All right, and so, before that, what other duties or responsibilities did you have with Verizon?
Prior to that role, I started the company in customer service, and then quality assurance, and then ultimately executive relations.
All right, thank you. Now, I want to show you what has been marked as S21, S23, S921, S923. S920. S922. And S924. All right. Mr. Reed, I'm gonna ask for you just to review the exhibits that I just placed on the record and see if you recognize those records.
Okay. Yes, I do.
All right, and what do you recognize those, first let's start with 921 and 923. What do you recognize those items to be?
You said 920 and 923?
I'm sorry, 921 and 923?
There's actually not an exhibit labeled 921, just 920 and 923.
All right, let me peek at it, maybe on the back, if you're trying to hide from you. All right, so this is 923, all right, let's see. And then let's get this one, 923.
Got it.
All right, and if you could just please tell the jury what those documents are.
So 921 is it's an explanation form for our call details.
All right, and why do you need an explanation for?
It basically provides an explanation of what each of the columns mean on that associated record.
All right, and is that a record that's kept in the normal course of business with Verizon in order to help explain the records?
Yes.
All right, and as for 923, what is that?
923 is also an explanation form, but for our text message records.
All right, and is that also kept in the normal course of business?
Yes.
Now, as for S920 921, and 920, I'm sorry, 920, 922, and 924. What is 920?
920 is the subscriber records.
All right, and again, are those kept in the normal course of business?
Yes, they are.
All right, and then as for 922 and 924, 922, what are those?
922 are the call detail records.
All right, and those call detail records relate to a specific phone number?
Yes, they do.
All right, and what is that phone number?
The phone number is 908-528-6494.
All right, and then finally 924, what is that?
924 are the text message detail records.
All right, and what phone number again is that for?
908-528-6494.
All right, thank you very much. And all of those are a fair and accurate depiction of the record that you would keep in regards to the explanation sheet, the subscriber sheet, and the detail records for the text and phone calls, correct?
Yes.
Right. Your Honor, at this time, the state would look to move into evidence 920, 921, 922, 923, and 924.
Judge, yes, but not, can we see briefly? It's not necessarily an objection, but I'll discuss.
All right, so again, we'll move those in subject to counsel's.
Subject to obviously what's testified to and necessary redactions, I have no objections.
Yep.
21, 22, and 20, 21,
2020.
23, and 24
Yes, Your Honor.
are in evidence subject to appropriate redactions.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right, so we're going to start, we want to show the jury SE 921. And Mr. Reed, what we're going to do is next to you, we're going to have a screen display the records. And if you could just explain column by column of what the title of the record is and kind of what it's going to show on the actual phone records for the jury.
Yes. So this first one is the call detail explanation form. So this essentially is a key that provides those explanations. The first column is titled Network Element Name, and essentially that's the switch that handled the phone call. The next column is Mobile Directory Number, and that's going to be your target number.
And I'm sorry, sir, I am interrupting you and messing up your presentation. I am going to give you this pointer. I would like for you to use that pointer to highlight for the jury so that they kind of understand what column you're referencing.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll be a little bit more assistance. Go right ahead, sir.
Sorry.
It's not,
I'm
let's
really
give
sure
you,
how to actually
and you're
use
not the
this pointer.
first. All right, here you go. How do you do it? Are you able to see? That's what's important. So this button right here is gonna highlight for you. Oh, we got it into some. All right. You know what? We'll keep going with this. What I'll have you do is highlight the title that you're discussing.
Okay.
And then when you're moving over on the document, you can use this to move over on the document.
Got it. Okay. All right.
All right, so you can go through those columns for the jurors, just so they understand what they're viewing.
Okay. I'll just go back over this one. So the mobile directory number column is going to be your target number for the records. The dialed digit number is basically the number that was dialed to initiate that phone call. The call direction field basically is the type of call, so whether it was inbound, outbound, or voicemail. If it is an inbound call, then you'll see a 0 or a 6. Or voicemail would show an F. Outbound calls would be a 1 and a 3. That's not.
You wanna move it up?
Yeah. And then the final part of call direction refers to if there are mobile-to-mobile calls, so to other Verizon subscribers, then it would show a number 2. And any other letter or number is essentially their routing or unknown call type and does not detail the transactional data for the phone call. The next column is the seizure date and time, and that's essentially the exact time and date of the start of each of the phone calls. The next column here is seizure duration, and that's going to be the duration of the call in seconds. This column is the first serving cell site, so that's really the cell site that the target phone number was hitting off when the call initiated. And we go to the first serving cell face, and it's the cell site sector of that initiated call when it started. And we move to the last serving cell site, and this is the cell site that the target phone was hitting off when the call was ended. And if we come here, it's the last serving cell face, and that's the cell site sector of the call when it ended. And then finally, this column is the calling party number, and that's the calling party that started the call.
All right, thank you very much. And so now we'll go to the next legend, 923. And are you able again to just briefly explain each of those columns as well before we get to the records?
Yes.
Text messages.
Let me move that up. I think I can only zoom, so I can't.
We're trying,
Oh.
well, everyone is, it's all right, it's all right. So you can start with the columns while Jen is trying to highlight, and maybe Jen, maybe you can just do, that's fine. Are you able just to highlight it there? And then we can just go with it.
There it goes.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
So the first column, and again, this is the text message detail explanation form. But the first column is the network element name, and that's essentially telling you the text message switch that processed that message. This next column is the switch type indicator, and generally you're going to see one of two switch types: M, which is for Motorola, or L for Lucent, and that helps us determine the message completion status codes, which are down here. So L and M, and it details what those numbers mean. The next column is MDN, and that's going to be your target number. Then the column is message send date time, and that's the date and time that the text message was sent. And then there's the message delivery date and time, and that's the date and time when the text message was delivered. And then we come to the message completion status, and again, that tells us the status of that message. When you see a 01, it means delivered, and that's also referenced back down here, 01, 01. The originating address is the message sender. Destination address is the recipient of the message. And then message direction indicator, so this is the direction of the text message. So if you see a 1 or a 3, it means it was an incoming text message. If you see a 2 or a 4, it means it was an outgoing text message. Then finally we have MIN, and that's really just a unique identifier that our network utilizes to route traffic.
All right, thank you very much. And so now moving to 920, who is this subscriber for the particular number that you just explained to the jury?
The subscriber is Mary McCaw.
All right, and if you can move now to 922, Exhibit S 922. We're going to go through first the call records for which phone, for what phone number, sir?
The phone number is 908-528-6494.
All right, and so we'll have that come up on the screen there for you. And what we'll do is we'll move we'll start with column 976. And if you could just explain to the jury, now that we're in the records, that first record there, in column, yes, exactly, it's highlighted, row 976.
I'm sorry, when you say explain,
The activity for that day with the columns.
I see. So on column 976, basically it looks like there was a phone call at February 14th, 2014 at 2:19. Was an outbound call to 908-448-7537. It lasted for 29 seconds. And that's it.
All right, and so that would indicate that the phone was able to make an outgoing phone call based on these records.
Yes.
All right, and so now for February 14th, do you see any other entries for February 14th of either incoming or outgoing phone calls on those records?
I do.
All right, and when is the last incoming or outgoing phone call on those records for February 14th, 2014?
The last one looks like it was on column 981.
All right, would you just highlight that for the jury and just go through that time and number?
And essentially, it was a call to 732-977-6565 at February 14th, 2014 at 2:42 a.m. The call lasted for 63 seconds.
All right, and that entry right under it, what, we see that there is still a transaction for 214. However, we see something in that call direction for an F. Can you explain that to the jury?
Yes, an F is indicative of a voicemail call, meaning that it was an inbound call that went to voicemail.
All right, and if we move over in that same column, if we move over to the column G, H, I, J, we see zeros there. What does that indicate to you?
Well, there was no data captured because there's no cell site information, so we don't have that data.
All right, and so the column next to it, F, the seizure duration, what is that seizing then at that point if it's not a phone call?
It's essentially saying that our network recorded 3 seconds of an attempted call from the calling party number.
So like the voicemail?
Correct, yeah, them attempting to call that number.
All right, and so for the remaining update of February 14th, do you see any other incoming or outgoing phone calls or any voicemails for the 14th?
There's one call below that on the 14th that's, again, looks like it went to voicemail as well.
All right, and what was that call that went to voicemail? You can see the time.
February 14th, 2014 at 2:34 p.m.
All right, and now we'll start with February 15th. What's the first entry for February 15th?
The first entry is at 1:11 p.m.
Okay, and again, what happened with that? What was the direction with that?
It was an incoming call that was not answered and essentially sent to voicemail.
All right, and so now for February 15th, we seem to still see that same F and that call direction for that entire date. What would that indicate to you?
Well, either the phone was not powered on or there was no cell phone service. Essentially, the call didn't get connected to the phone. It wasn't answered.
All right, and so for the 15th, do you see any outgoing phone calls?
No.
All right, we'll move to the 16th. Thank you, Jeff. All right, we have the 16th there. Again, do you see any, the activity that you see there, can you explain that to the jury?
Yes, on the 16th, it is also inbound calls that were sent to voicemail.
All right, and we can move to the 17th, please? And what do we see for the 17th?
Same thing, inbound calls that were sent to voicemail.
All right, and on the, I think we have one entry for the 18th?
Yes,
that-
that was also a inbound call that went to voicemail.
Thank you. And then we're gonna move now down to the 19th, where we have February 19th, I believe it is column 1061. It is, can you explain that column for the jury, please? I'm sorry, that row for the jury, please.
It looks like that row is 1051 actually. But
Thank you.
you're welcome. That one, so if you'll recall from the key that we looked at, a call direction of 8 is not a number that's identified, so, and also if you look across the row, from columns F through L, you'll see that there is all zeros there. So whatever was going on that date, it doesn't look like it was captured. So it's unclear, what transpired on February 19th.
All right, and then the entry right under it, is that the same for that particular entry?
It is exactly the same, yes.
All right, and again, that indicates to you that something was happening with Verizon, but it could not collect the data?
Yes, it wasn't captured, so it's unclear.
Okay. And so now let's move to February 20th of 2014. What happens on February 20th of 2014 at this point in the call direction?
That was also an inbound call, and again, the F lets us know that it was forwarded to voicemail.
All right, and is that now, in that section K that you had mentioned on the previous two entries where there was a 0, is there now a phone number listed there?
There is a phone number.
Okay, and that would indicate to you that it did at least connect to just leave the message?
We can't see if they left a message or not, just that it was forwarded to the voicemail.
Okay, thank you. And now let's go down to the next entry, February 21st of 2014. Can you explain what's going on there?
Yes, so on February 21st, 2014 at 11:11 a.m., it does look like there was an outbound call to a 908-334-5390 that lasted 5 seconds.
All right, and then the next entry at 10:55?
Yes, that one, again, is another outbound call at also 11:11 to a 732-977-6565 that lasted 3 seconds.
All right, and then if we go to the next entry on 2/21/2014, explain that to the jury?
Yes, that is another outbound call to 727-320-5146 at 11:28 a.m. and that call lasted 1,316 seconds.
All right, and then the next entry at 10:56?
Yeah.
57.
Yes. That is another outbound call to 727-320-5146 at 1:30 p.m. that lasted 35 seconds.
All right, and then finally, that last entry there, can you explain that to the jury, please?
Yes, so that one is on, yeah, that is an inbound call, actually. So 908-528-6, excuse me, I'm sorry. 727-320-5146 called the target number, 908-528-6494 at 1:33 p.m. and the call lasted 31 seconds.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And now we will move to S9, let's first go to S924. And what is that?
These are the text message detail records.
All right, and those correlate with the legend that you mentioned with the top of the columns, the titles?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so we're gonna go to that first column there, and it's February 14th, 2014. If you could just explain that column to the jury.
Yes, the first column here basically shows that there was an incoming text message, let's see, at February 14th, 2014, at 2:36 p.m. And it was delivered on February 14th, 2014 at 3:29 p.m. And it came from, let's see, came from 732-685-5494.
Okay, thank you. And then we're gonna go to the last entry for February 15th, I'm sorry, for February 14th. We can go to the last entry on the records for that date. We're gonna highlight that for you. For the record, it's going to be it's gonna be row. We need to go 403, can we start there at row 403? And then I believe it goes to 406.
Yes, I see that.
All right, and so before we get to 403, at 402, can you explain to the jury what that message is and the time of that message?
Yes, that is also an incoming text message. Yeah, so that's an incoming text message was sent on February 14th, 2014 at 5:19 p.m. And it was delivered on February 14th, 2014 at 6:06 p.m. It came from 732-685-5494.
All right, and then we can move to the row 403 to 406. It looks, can you explain those four rows to, first of all, the time and what's being indicated in column G and H for those four entries?
Yes, so on column, or row 403, excuse me, the message was sent at February 14th, 7:22 p.m. and delivered on February 14th, 2014 at 7:24 p.m. And then that was an incoming message. If you look at the originating address, which is column G, you'll see that it's a different format than the other phone numbers we've seen. When you see that, it basically shows that this was a message from Verizon Wireless. Specifically, what that message is, these records aren't going to detail that, but it was a message from our company.
All right, and then we'll go to 404, 405, and 406. Is the same thing happening there?
Yes, so on 404, again, it's another incoming message, also from Verizon Wireless, and again, that's because you see the +11 at the end of that originating number.
Okay, and then 405?
Yes, so this is also a communication with Verizon, but again, this is an outgoing message, so it's coming from the handset.
All right, and then last 406.
406 is the exact same thing. It's a communication with Verizon, but it's outgoing. So.
All right, and so now we're gonna go to 407. Can you explain that column to the jury in regards to the date, the differences in date? It seems that the ones prior all were of the same date and relatively within seconds of each other. Can you explain the difference in column B and E with the remaining rows that are located on that particular spreadsheet?
Yes, so this was an incoming message, and it says that it was sent on February 16th, 2014 at 2:33 a.m. But it was delivered to the handset on February 20th, 2014 at 5:55 p.m.
So now, why would that amount of delay be in between a message being sent and a message being received by the handset?
These records aren't gonna necessarily tell us that. Typically, it's the phone is off, there's no service, something going on, but essentially that message is not being delivered to the handset for one reason or another.
All right, and so do you have any messages being delivered to the handset on February 15th based on those records?
Not delivered, no.
All right, do you have any messages delivered to the handset on February 16th based on those records?
No.
Do you have any messages delivered to the handset on February 17th, 2014 based on those records?
No.
Do you have any for February 18th, 2014 based on those records?
No.
Do you have any for February 19th, 2024 based on those records delivered to the handset?
No.
Do you have any messages delivered to the handset on February 20th of 2014?
Yes.
All right, and are all those remaining messages contained from section 407 down to the bottom of, I believe, 420? Are all those messages delivered to the handset on February 20th of 2014?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. One moment. And just to clarify, on February 14th of 2014, 7:24 p.m., was that the last outgoing message out of the phone? Take your time. And we can pull it back up for you.
Can you repeat the question one more time concerning the time?
Absolutely. February 14th, 2014, at 7:24 p.m. Was that the last message that was outgoing from the phone?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
I have no further questions.
Did we talk about the time zone that the phone calls are in?
We did not.
What time zone is Verizon using was Verizon using at the time?
Eastern,
Not UTC.
not UTC, Eastern.
How about for the SMS messages?
Eastern as well.
It's all Eastern.
Yes.
Okay. And the difference between Eastern and UTC, you're familiar with that?
I'm not familiar with UTC.
Okay. So all those messages are our time here, Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
All right. You mentioned that there were some, on the phone calls, you mentioned that there were some phone calls that we don't know what happened to them. It's unclear what happened to them.
Yes, the data was not captured.
So we don't know, we can't say with any certainty whether phone calls were made, received, et cetera.
On the call records that we spoke about, that, yeah, we cannot
We
determine
can't.
what happened.
And the same thing is for some of the SMS messages, or no?
That's not on the SMS.
Okay. The SMS message that council talked to you about, sent on the 16th, captured on the handset on the 20th, that the reason, we can't say why that happened, correct?
As I said, these records are not gonna detail, the reason for the delay.
Okay. Now, those records do not capture iMessages, correct?
They would not, no.
Right. Those capture SMS Verizon messages, right?
Yes.
So iPhone to iPhone messages would not be detailed in the records we talked about today.
No.
And that's because that's iPhone to iPhone, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Sit down.
Thank you.
Call your next witness.
Your Honor, State calls Lieutenant James Knapp.
please watch your step and stand in front of the chair. Please raise your right hand. State your name for the record.
James Knapp,
Spell your last name.
N-A-P-P.
And do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may have a seat, and please use the microphone to project to the jury.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant.
Good afternoon.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury, tell them where you work and what you do?
Sure. James Knapp, I'm with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office for about 24 and a half years. And I'm currently a lieutenant there.
How long have you been a lieutenant with the office?
Been a lieutenant for 3 years.
What was your assignment prior to becoming a lieutenant?
I was a sergeant, and then before that I was a detective. During those times I was assigned to major crimes and the crime scene.
How long were you in the crime scene unit?
14 years.
Do you remember the dates of that?
2007 to 2021.
Do you have any other law enforcement experience outside the prosecutor's office?
No.
So back in February of 2014, can you tell the jury what your assignment and rank was at that point?
I was a detective at the time, and I was assigned to the crime scene unit.
Can you describe back in February 2014 what the structure of the crime scene unit generally was?
It was made up of 3 crime scene officers. 2 of them were sworn civilians, and the third was myself as a sworn detective.
How many members of that unit would be assigned to a particular case?
It would vary. Typically, it's 1 per case, but as things progress, we go in different directions. Sometimes all 3 of us could work a single case.
Back in February of 2014, were you assigned to assist in an investigation involving the murder of Billy McCall?
Yes.
Who was the primary crime scene detective in the case?
Matt Magno.
Did there come a time when you were requested to assist in searching some residences in New
Yes.
Brunswick? Do you recall what day that was?
February 21st, 2014.
Who asked you to do that?
I would have been Sergeant George Trillhouse at the time, and he was a sergeant in major crimes.
What was the first place that you were requested to search?
33 Remsen Avenue, New Brunswick.
Can you describe that building?
It's called the Sanford Bates House. It's a large house. It's a halfway house for people who have been paroled from prison.
So within that house, were you directed to a specific room or specific area of the house?
Yes,
Where was that?
that was room number 5. I believe it was towards the back of the residence.
Okay. Do you know who was assigned that room?
Gregory Vargas.
And did you actually go out to that residence on that date and assist in the search?
Yes.
What were your responsibilities there during the search?
We're going to be documenting the scene with photography and to do a search and collect anything that may be relevant or thought to be evidence.
Who else assisted in the search there?
Various people from my office, including Sergeant Trillhouse, and I believe a couple of our major crimes detectives, a few detectives from major crimes of New Brunswick Police as well.
Did you recover any items from that location?
Yes.
What were they?
An iPhone and a watch.
Stiff evidence. Approaching you with S-191 through S-204 that have already been stipulated. So can you take a look through those?
What are those items?
Those are some of the photos that I took of 33 Remsen Ave in Brunswick on February 21st.
Okay. And these photos would document your search that you did that day, what you found and what you saw there, correct?
Correct.
All right, we're going to start with S191. Can you tell us what that is?
It's a view of the front of 33 Remsen Ave from ground level, the front sidewalk.
And do you recall in proximity to that specific location, front door, where room number 5 was?
I know it's in the back. I mean, I really don't know how to describe it other than it's in the back of the building.
Okay. Let's go to the next photo, 192. What is that?
That's just a closer view of the number. That way, if I needed to refer to it afterwards, I can look back at my photos and remember that it was number 33. So it's just the address, photo of the address.
All right, let's go to the next one. What's 193?
This is a view from the hallway, looking at the door to room number 5.
All right, the next one. 194.
That's a view from the door, threshold of the door, standing in the hallway, looking into the room. It's the first thing you'd see when you open the door.
How about the next one, 195?
Same area, the door would be behind me. It's just another view, starting to pan around the room, sort of in a clockwise formation, and that's the next photo I took from the door.
Okay, let's go to 196.
Again, another view inside the room, still panning around, making my way to the right. The door would still be behind me.
Let's go to the next one, 197.
Another photo making my way to the right in a clockwise formation. Again, the door is behind me, just another view of the right side of the room.
198.
Now I'm in the far corner from the door. You can see the doors in view to the right. That would lead you back to the hallway. And it's just another view of the room.
199.
Same view, now with the door closed, just showing a 360 completion of making my way around.
So looking at all those photos, that's basically a 360-degree clockwise photo view of the room?
Yes.
And they're essentially in chronological order, going from when you walked in and around the room, correct?
That's correct.
Could you tell approximately how many people lived in that room?
I don't recall, as I sit here today, how many people were there.
All right, let's go to S200. What is S200?
It's a view a little bit closer inside the room, next to one of the beds, showing some of the personal items which are in the center of the photo.
Can you tell us what essentially those personal items are?
Well, I can see there's like a briefcase or like a laptop case, and that's really what I'm trying to focus on in the photo.
What was it that you noticed about that briefcase or laptop case?
When we looked further into it, we were able to find the iPhone in there.
Okay. Let's go to the next photo, 201. What is that?
That's a view of that same laptop case. The bed would be kind of at the bottom of the photo. And you can see the underside of the phone, that's like the charging port sticking up in the side pouch of that laptop case or briefcase.
Okay. Was that immediately apparent to you when you were looking at that item?
I knew that it was definitely a phone, yes.
Let's go to the next photo. That's S202.
That's the phone, just in a different view on top of the envelope it was going to be collected in, just so that we can see what it looks like in its entirety, since it wasn't viewable while it was in its original state inside the case.
And is that, well, I'll ask you.
There's an envelope behind that, that phone. What is that envelope used for?
That's the envelope that I'm going to remove the phone from the room and it gets stored in there. It's, it's like the evidence.
Okay, and you bring envelopes with you to a crime scene to store evidence, correct?
Yes.
And then what do you do with it after an item that you find is put in an envelope?
It's, secured by me, kept with me, and then eventually it's entered into the evidence catalog for the case. It gets labeled and it gets put as one of the numbers of the inventory.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next one, S203.
It's just another view of the phone. It's the back side of the phone. I just wanted to make sure I had a photo of the front and back before we collected it.
Okay. Were you taking these photos there in the room?
Yes.
Were any members of the residence, like room number 5, allowed in the room with you while you were doing this?
No.
Let's go to the next one. What is that? S204.
Within the bag, there was, some more personal items. So in this case, I wanted to be able to document that there is personalized stuff, in this case, stuff addressed to a certain person. So I wanted to make sure that I documented that the name Gregory Varga appears on some stuff inside the bag in which the phone was found, so that I can identify if there are multiple people living in that room, whose bag this is likely, who this bag likely belongs to.
All right. And that photo is taken simultaneous to you, or in close proximity to you opening it and finding that, right?
Yeah, as I find things during the search, I deem certain things to be more important, and I make sure I capture them with a photo to document.
Show you S21. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
This is the iPhone that we just saw on the screen from the photos.
And how do you know that?
The envelope and the itemized, it has a sticker on it, which we put on after we put it into the evidence system, and it's got the case information, it's got the description. And I believe it's the only iPhone, at least in this condition, that we have in the case, so I do remember that.
Does that have any markings of your own on that envelope?
The writing on it was done by Matt Magnone. He's the main crime scene investigator. So when I came back with my evidence, I turned it over to him. He labeled this, and that's actually his handwriting on it. And it says victim's white iPhone, victim W. McCall.
What was done with that item after you retrieved it from 33 Remsen?
It was brought back to the crime scene unit where it was secured.
And from that point, unless that item is sent out for testing to some other agency, do they remain in the care of law enforcement?
Yes.
Is there anybody outside of law enforcement that would have access to that item?
No.
Now, was that the only location you searched in reference to this case?
No.
Where else did you search?
On the same day, I went to 75 Delafield. It's another street within New Brunswick.
Do you recall what time you got there?
Delafield was 11:45 p.m.
And who else was with you when you did the search of that place?
I believe it was the same people from that search here, so it would include members of the prosecutor's office major crimes unit, as well as New Brunswick's major crimes detectives.
Do you recall what items you specifically located at 75 Delafield?
I did. There were 5 different knives that were collected.
That's all. Showing you what's been marked 179 to 190.
recognize those items?
I do.
What are they?
Those are some of the photos I took at 75 Delafield.
Step to evidence.
All right. Can you tell us what's on screen is S-179?
It's a view of 75 Delafield. I can see the number 75 above the door on the bottom left of the picture. And it's just a setup shot, just showing you what the outside of the building looked like from the ground level.
Let's go to the next one. 180.
Just like the prior location, just a closer view of the number, just so that I could, document the actual house number for the residents.
Let's keep going. 181.
That's one of the exterior doors for the apartment, letter D, and that's the room in which we searched.
All right. That's the actual apartment that you searched, apartment D?
Correct, that's the apartment.
182, what's that?
That's the view from the hallway, looking at the bedroom that I was directed to photograph and search.
Let's keep going to 183.
It's a photo of two different knives that were on the floor just outside the bedroom.
Why did you take a photo of those?
I take a photo of everything, so anything that I see that I'd like to incorporate into somewhere to sort of memorialize the scene of the day in which we were there. That way, months, years later, when we look back, I'll just be able to remember. But anything that you see in the apartment or house could be relevant, so we pretty much photograph anything in the general area just to document it. But when you see knives, they sort of stand out, so I wanted to make sure I document it.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. That's 184. What's that?
It's a view into the doorway, into that room that we just saw. Now the door is open, standing in the hallway looking.
Okay, let's go to the next one. 185.
It's a view of the first piece of furniture that you would be met with when you walk in. That's like a little dresser, which is just on the inside of the door, as you can see to the left. And that photo is a close-up of a sheath, a canvas-looking sheath, that has a knife inside.
Okay. Let's keep going to the next one. 186.
That's a view of the same item, now with the tab open so that you can actually see it's a black handle folded.
Let's go to the next one.
This is between the mattress and the box spring in that same room. That's just what you see as you lift the mattress. It's the beginning view of another knife.
And that's 187, so let's go to 188. What's
Now,
that?
Now with that removed from underneath there, you can see that that's the back side of the knife holder or the sheath, if you will. And then there'll be another shot showing what's inside.
Let's go to the next one.
Flipped it over, opened the tab, and now you can see that there's another knife inside there.
And that's S189. Let's go to S190. Tell us what that is.
The top drawer of that same dresser by the door, another knife, just a view of it with the drawer open.
191.
This is a closer view from in front of the drawer, just giving a better angle of that same folding knife.
I'm sorry, that's actually 190A. I couldn't
Is it
read.
190A or 191?
198.
190A. So, okay. Did you retrieve those items, those knives?
Yes,
Okay, and were they placed in evidence?
yes,
Okay, did you follow a similar procedure that you did with the iPhone that you found at 33 Remsen?
yes,
And they were all placed in separate envelopes, marked, and placed in evidence at the prosecutor's office, correct?
yes, and if they don't fit in an envelope, they may go inside of the box. I don't remember each and every one, but yes, they're secured in some sort of a package before they're removed.
Okay, all right, and they would have been placed in the custody of law enforcement and nobody else would have had access to them, correct?
That's correct.
Now, when you retrieve items from a location after you're done with the search, do you do any sort of a document, to prepare a document to make sure that you itemize what you take and took?
Yes, well, they can be sometimes incorporated into the report that you write, and in this case, I wrote a report about both locations and itemized the items I took because there weren't that many. But if you have, hundreds and hundreds of items, you may not put that in your report, and they may appear just on evidence receipt. In this case, I prepared a report. It did illustrate which items I took from each of those two scenes.
All right, did you do anything else relative to this case, to this
No.
investigation?
I did not.
Your Honor, that's all I have, thank you.
Do you have his report? Do you have his report, Andy?
Yep.
Lieutenant Knapp, at the time you said you were the detective in charge of the unit,
No, I was not in charge.
but you were the only sworn law enforcement officer, correct?
No, all three of us were sworn.
Well, two were sworn civilians, but not law enforcement.
I guess it would depend on how you define law enforcement. I consider them law enforcement.
Okay, but you dichotomized the answer initially. You said one was a sworn detective, and the other ones were sworn civilians.
Correct.
What's the difference?
One has police powers, myself, those two do not.
Okay, and that's what I meant by law enforcement. You have police powers, they do not.
That's correct.
You, at the time, had been doing crime scene work for 14 years, correct?
At the time of this case, I had been doing it for 7 years.
7. And since then, how much longer after did you do crime scene work?
Another 14 years, another 7, I guess?
So 14 years out of your 24-year career has been in crime scene work.
Yes.
It's fair to say that you, it's kind of, what's this, your specialty at the office.
It used to be, sure.
And at the time, you were the most senior crime scene technician or detective in that unit, correct?
Yes.
Who were the other two? Was Bree Curran in the unit at the time?
She was.
And then she was newer in the unit, I presume?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long she'd been there at the time, but she was the newer one, and Matt Magnan was the third.
He was also a newer crime scene tech at the time.
Yeah, I want to say he had maybe 4 years in. I think he started in 09 or 2010, so I wouldn't really consider him newer.
As crime scene?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Okay. Well, when he testifies, we'll ask him.
Sure.
He was assigned the primary crime scene to this particular case, correct?
Yes.
And you would agree with me that homicide cases in general are pretty involved crime scene or heavy crime scene cases, right?
It all depends. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Typical.
No, I mean, half and half.
Okay.
A drive-by shooting, in other words, wouldn't be a complicated scene.
This particular case, there were several crime scenes or several areas that were searched and documented, correct?
Yes.
The crime scene itself in this particular case was a very dynamic crime scene, correct?
I have no knowledge of the crime scene.
You didn't go out to the crime scene?
No, sir.
Did you have an opportunity to review any of the reports or anything like that related to this crime scene?
No, not a single crime scene.
So you really kind of focused, the only thing you're saying to us today is that you really just did these 2 searches and you divorced yourself from the rest of the case, you didn't do anything else?
No, I just was an add-on to the case because this crime scene person wasn't available, so I assisted by doing, I would say I divorced myself from the case.
You would agree with me, however, that this particular homicide investigation was somewhat involved, correct?
Yes,
You can at least tell us that, because you work at the same office as the prosecutors, right?
yes,
And you work at the same, I mean, Detective Magnone, I don't know if he's sworn law enforcement now or not, but he was working there as well with you, correct?
yes.
You guys would, I guess, talk, shop, I guess, at some points during this case?
I don't remember this case, but typically we would talk about cases, yes.
You, when you went to 33 Remsen Avenue, you took several pictures, right?
Yes.
And then you described the pictures that you took, and you described the pattern that you took them in, right?
Yes.
That pattern is 360-degree pattern.
For that particular room, I went around in a 360-degree manner, yes.
And the reason you did that is you wanted to document and have overlap in your pictures, correct?
Yes,
All around the room, right?
yes,
In order, you did that in order for us to be able to follow kind of what you're seeing, right?
yes.
It's one of the good, well, it's a good quality of a, I guess, how do I phrase this? A good crime scene tech. It's a quality that they would have, right? Be able to look at pictures or take pictures in a way that a stranger to the crime scene can basically follow what they're doing, right?
Yes,
And that's a skill that you learn. Yes?
yes,
And it's a skill that takes, I guess, a bit of an art to do, correct?
sure, I would say so.
I mean, you have to be somewhat savvy in photography a little bit, I assume.
Yes,
And you're able to execute that pattern pretty good in for this particular one, right? The 360-degree.
Sure.
And then you went in for some kind of medium shots, right? The bag,
yes,
and you're kind of showing the I guess the lay looker, the person who's looking at this, who's not a crime scene person. You know, this is kind of my process. This is what I'm doing. I take an overview, right? The 360-degree shot.
yes,
And then I go in for a medium shot, which is the bag.
yes,
And then I go in for a close-up and take a picture of the actual evidence that I want to capture, correct?
correct.
So those are the three major shots in crime scene work. I mean, I'm sure there's some other ones, right? But those are the kind of the hallmarks: the overview, the medium, and the close-up, correct?
Absolutely.
And you did that perfectly in this case. Yes? It's okay.
I think I did a good job, sure.
I agree with you. I'm not trying to trick you. You did the same thing at 33 Remsen, correct? I mean, at 75 Delafield, right?
Yes,
We're able to look at the pictures that you took and follow your work, yes?
yes,
And that's the idea. When you come to court to show your work, we want to be able to follow the logic of what you're seeing and what you're capturing, right?
yes,
That's what makes, I'm gonna say it, a great crime scene tech, correct?
sure.
So, and then you see some items of evidence, right?
Yes,
You see the iPhone and a watch, I believe, from 33 Remsen, correct?
correct.
And then you see the knives from 75 Delafield, correct?
Correct.
Were you directed as the tech to see certain things, or did you make that call yourself?
For the first location, we knew what we were looking for, the cell phone. The watch was directed to take it. The second location, which sort of was a spin-off from the first location, I was directed what to take
All right.
after the place was searched.
So when you're directed what to take, you follow the orders that you're given, and you take what you're directed to take, correct?
Yes,
You were not directed to take those IDs that we just saw in 190A, correct?
correct,
And because you were not directed to take them, you did not take them, correct?
correct.
And you prepared a report in this case, correct?
Yes.
And it's a short report because really what you did was not super involved in this particular case, correct?
Agreed, yes.
And the report helps you also refresh your recollection at a later date along with pictures.
Yes.
Had you been more involved, you may have taken some notes.
Sure, or more photos.
Or more photos.
Report, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Anything further from this witness?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Is that it for today's witnesses? All right, members of the jury, you'll get another early dismissal today. Get home safely, I see some smiles. Please don't talk about the case, and we'll see you back tomorrow morning at 8:30.